Right now, there is a version of you that is not you, a shadow woven into the mathematical fabric of reality that science has desperately tried to ignore for decades. We have always believed that the Big Bang was a singular event, a lonely explosion that gave birth to the stars, the galaxies, and the atoms in your blood. But the equations that govern existence demand symmetry, suggesting that our universe is merely one half of a terrifyingly perfect whole that we were never meant to see. When the cosmos was born, it should have produced equal parts matter and antimatter, a perfect balance that would have instantly annihilated everything back into pure energy. Yet, here you are, breathing and existing in a universe made almost entirely of matter, standing on the grave of a missing twin that physics says must exist. This is the baryon asymmetry problem, a gaping wound in our understanding of reality that suggests someone or something stole half of the universe at the dawn of time. Scientists have searched the darkness between galaxies for the missing antimatter, hunting for the vast annihilation explosions that would mark its location, but the void remains silent. For years, we assumed the antimatter had simply vanished, evaporated by some unknown quirk of the early universe that favored our existence over the void. But a chilling new theory proposes that the missing antimatter didn't vanish at all. It was exiled to a place we cannot reach, a realm locked behind the barrier of time. In the frozen wastelands of Antarctica, a NASA experiment designed to listen to the cosmos detected a scream coming from the wrong direction, a signal that shouldn't exist. The Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, or ANITA, flies high above the ice sheet, searching for ghost particles called neutrinos crashing down from deep space. High-energy neutrinos are unstoppable. They pass through galaxies like ghosts, but they cannot pass through the dense mass of the entire planet Earth without losing energy. The laws of physics state that no high-energy neutrino should be able to travel all the way through the Earth and emerge from the ice, striking the detector from below. Yet that is exactly what ANITA saw, a beam of high-energy particles erupting from the ground, behaving as if the Earth wasn't there, defying the standard model of physics. Physicists were baffled, scrambling for explanations, checking for errors, but the data remained stubborn, pointing to an event that looked like time itself was running backward. This anomaly wasn't just a glitch. It was the first tangible evidence of the Captain's symmetric universe, a mirror reality created alongside our own at the Big Bang. In this hidden twin universe, parity is flipped, left becomes right, positive charges become negative, and most terrifying of all, time flows backward relative to us. While we rush headlong into the future, decaying and expanding, our twin rushes backward into the past, receding from the moment of creation just as we do, but in the opposite temporal direction. This isn't science fiction. It is the only mathematical model that elegantly solves the dark matter problem without inventing invisible magical particles that we can't detect. If this anti-universe exists, it is dominated by antimatter, a shadow realm where anti-stars burn with cold light and anti-galaxies spin in reverse. The particles detected in Antarctica might be leakage from this twin reality, ghosts crossing the temporal divide to scream at us from a timeline that shouldn't touch ours. We think of ourselves as the primary reality, the real universe. But in a perfectly symmetric system, there is no primary, only the reflection and the observer. What if we are the reflection? What if our perception of time flowing forward is just a local illusion, and the true arrow of time points toward the Big Bang? Neil Turok of the Perimeter Institute, one of the fathers of this theory, suggests that the universe doesn't need inflation or multiverses to explain its existence, it just needs a mirror. But mirrors can be dangerous things, because if the barrier between these two realities ever shattered, the resulting annihilation would erase both universes instantly. The existence of a hidden twin implies that our loneliness is a lie, that for every atom in your body there is a twin atom rushing away from you in time. This theory also explains the mysterious dark matter that holds our galaxies together. It's not some invisible sludge, but the gravitational ghost of the neutrinos from the twin universe. We are feeling the gravity of a world we can never visit, a phantom pull from a timeline that is fundamentally incompatible with our biology and our consciousness. The concept forces us to confront the possibility that the Big Bang wasn't a beginning, but a reflection point, a zero hour where two timelines diverged into the dark. If the ANITA detection is confirmed, it means the mirror is cracked, and particles are leaking through, violating the quarantine that keeps reality stable. Conventional physics is terrified of this data because it breaks the standard model, the rulebook we have used to build every technology and theory for the last century. They tried to dismiss the signal as reflected radio waves from the ice, but the angles didn't match. The geometry of the anomaly pointed straight down into the abyss. Something punched through the Earth from the other side, and if it came from a universe running backward in time, it arrived before it left. The temporal paradoxes alone are enough to drive a mathematician insane, implying that cause and effect are not absolute laws, but local customs of our specific timeline. We cling to the idea that the past is fixed and the future is open, but in a Captain-symmetric universe, the future of our twin is our ancient past. They are moving toward the Big Bang, witnessing the universe heat up and contract, while we watch it cool down and die in the expanding void. It is a cosmic tragedy of epic proportions, two siblings born of the same violent event, forever rushing away from each other, destined never to meet. But the gravitational influence remains, a tether that binds us across the temporal gap, warping the motion of our stars and the rotation of our galaxies. Astronomers have long noted that the universe is expanding faster than it should, a crisis known as the Hubble tension, which might be the drag of our twin slowing us down. We are not just drifting through space, we are being pulled by the ghost of a dead universe, or perhaps a universe that hasn't been born yet. Imagine a world where entropy reverses, where broken cups reassemble and living things grow younger until they return to the womb of creation. That is the reality of the anti-universe, a nightmare to us, but home to whatever entities might exist on the other side of the Big Bang. The Captain theorem is one of the most robust in physics. Breaking it would mean rewriting everything, but observing it means accepting that we are only half of the story. The silence of the cosmos, the Fermi paradox, might be explained by this bifurcation. Perhaps intelligent life is abundant, but half of it is locked in reverse time. We look for aliens in the sky, but we should be looking for them in the mirror, in the negative spaces where matter shouldn't be but gravity persists. The Anita anomaly was a warning shot, a particle that defied our arrow of time to deliver a message we are just beginning to decode. As we dig deeper into the quantum nature of reality, we find that the distinction between past and future is thinner than the walls of a soap bubble. The hidden twin is not just a theory, it is a necessity of the math that keeps your atoms from flying apart, a shadow that sustains the light. If we could somehow turn around and look back through the Big Bang, we might see a familiar face staring back at us, horrified by our backward existence. Reality is not a straight line. It is a loop, a reflection, a terrifying symmetry that implies we are forever trapped in a dance with a partner we cannot touch. To understand why the existence of a mirror universe is not just a fantasy but a mathematical necessity, we must first confront the greatest crime scene in the history of cosmology, the survival of matter itself. According to the standard model of particle physics, the Big Bang was an event of perfect symmetry, a singular point of infinite energy that should have birthed equal parts substance and anti-substance. For every proton created in the primordial fire, an antiproton should have been forged in the same instant. For every electron spinning in one direction, a positron should have spun in the other. This is not merely a suggestion of the equations, it is a requirement of the conservation laws that govern reality. If the universe began with zero charge and zero momentum, it should have evolved into a soup of equal and opposite particles that immediately sought each other out and annihilated. The cosmos should have ended before it even began, flashing into existence for a fraction of a second before collapsing back into a sea of pure, featureless radiation. Yet, you are here, the stars are burning, and the galaxies are spinning, which means that somewhere in the first moments of creation, this symmetry was broken. A catastrophic imbalance occurred, allowing a tiny fraction of matter, roughly one particle in a billion, to survive the great annihilation and form the universe we see today. Physics calls this the baryon asymmetry, but that is a sterile term for a terrifying reality. We are the survivors of a cosmic massacre, the debris left over after the universe tried to kill itself, and for decades we have been unable to find the missing bodies of our antimatter siblings. The desperation to explain this impossible survival has led scientists to invent increasingly complex and unproven mechanisms, patching the holes in our understanding with theoretical band-aids like cosmic inflation. Inflation suggests that the universe expanded faster than the speed of light for a fraction of a second, smoothing out the geometry of space and potentially hiding the missing antimatter beyond the cosmic horizon where we can never see it. But inflation is a messy, ad hoc solution that requires fields and particles that have never been observed. A quote, God of the gaps inserted into the math to make the numbers work. It suggests that the universe we see is just a tiny, lucky bubble in a chaotic, eternal multiverse, a roll of the dice that happened to come up in our favor. But there is a cleaner, more elegant, and far more unsettling solution that doesn't require inventing new physics or invisible fields. What if the universe didn't break symmetry at all? What if the Big Bang respected the laws of physics perfectly, creating equal amounts of matter and antimatter, but they were simply separated by the one barrier we cannot cross? If the universe is truly symmetric, then the missing antimatter isn't hidden behind a horizon of distance, it is hidden behind the horizon of time, existing in a reality that extends backwards from the Big Bang, just as ours extends forwards. This removes the need for inflation entirely, replacing a complex mess of unproven theories with a single, chilling geometric truth. Our universe is only half of the picture. This radical proposal is grounded in a fundamental theorem of physics known as Captain symmetry, a rule so sacred that, if it were proven wrong, the entire edifice of modern science would crumble into dust. Captain stands for charge, parity, and time, the three fundamental properties that define the state of any particle in the universe. Charge refers to the positive or negative electrical state. Parity refers to the spatial orientation, essentially left versus right. And time refers to the direction of flow from past to future. The Captain theorem states that if you take any physical process, flip the charge of every particle, reflect the entire system in a mirror, and reverse the flow of time, the laws of physics will remain exactly the same. The universe is Captain invariant. It doesn't care if you are made of matter or antimatter, or if time is running forward or backward, as long as all three values are flipped simultaneously. We know that our universe violates these symmetries individually. Nature has a slight preference for matter over antimatter, and time clearly has an arrow pointing toward the future, but the combination of all three has always been assumed to be conserved. The mirror universe theory takes this theorem to its ultimate logical conclusion. If the universe as a whole respects Captain symmetry, then the Big Bang must have acted as a perfect Captain mirror. For our universe of matter, moving forward in time with a specific orientation, there must be a twin universe of antimatter, moving backward in time with the opposite orientation, balancing the cosmic ledger perfectly. Visualizing this anti-universe requires breaking the human conditioning that views time as a linear path from yesterday to tomorrow. We typically imagine the Big Bang as a wall at the beginning of history, a starting line before which there was nothing. But in the Captain symmetric model, the Big Bang is not a wall. It is a reflection point, a 0 hour on an infinite timeline that stretches in both directions. Imagine standing at the edge of a still lake. You see your reflection extending downwards just as you extend upwards. To an observer in the reflection, up is down. But the geometry is perfectly consistent. In this cosmic model, the entities in the twin universe would perceive their time as flowing forward, just as we do. They would see their universe expanding and cooling, just as we do. But from our perspective, they are receding into the past, moving deeper into the epoch before the Big Bang. If you could stand outside of time and view the whole structure, you would see two cones of space-time expanding away from a central point, a cosmic hourglass where sand flows in both directions simultaneously. This implies that the past is not a fixed, dead era, but a vibrant, living reality for a mirror civilization that is currently experiencing their own version of the present, completely unaware that they are the anti-shadow of our world. The implications of this symmetry extend far beyond abstract philosophy. They offer a potential solution to the enigma of dark matter, the invisible gravitational glue that holds our galaxies together. For decades, astronomers have observed that galaxies spin too fast. The visible stars and gas do not have enough mass to generate the gravity needed to keep these massive structures from flying apart. There must be 5 times more invisible matter than visible matter, yet despite billions of dollars spent on underground detectors and particle accelerators, we have never found a single particle of dark matter. We have hunted for WIMPs, weakly interacting massive particles, axions, and sterile neutrinos, but the detectors remain silent, ruling out candidate after candidate. The Captain symmetric universe offers a stunningly simple answer. We haven't found dark matter because we are looking for the wrong thing. In the standard model, every known particle has a spin or handedness, and neutrinos are the only particles that have ever been observed spinning in only one direction, left-handed. If the universe is perfectly symmetric, there must be right-handed neutrinos to balance the equations. These right-handed neutrinos would be invisible to the weak nuclear force, making them effectively undetectable except through gravity. In the mirror universe theory, these right-handed neutrinos are stable, abundant, and massive enough to account for all the missing mass in the cosmos. Dark matter isn't some exotic new substance. It is simply the ghost of the neutrinos from our twin, bleeding their gravity across the barrier of the Big Bang. While the theory of a captain-symmetric universe was gaining traction in the chalk-dusted offices of theoretical physicists, the cold reality of the Antarctic ice sheet was preparing to deliver a shock that would turn mathematics into observation. The experiment was called ANITA, the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, a collection of sensitive radio antennas dangling from a helium balloon stratospheric balloon, drifting 120,000 feet above the most desolate continent on Earth. ANITA was designed to hunt for cosmic ray air showers, cascades of high-energy particles that occur when ultra-high-energy neutrinos from deep space slam into the atoms of the Antarctic ice. These collisions release a pulse of radio waves known as Ascarian radiation, a brief electromagnetic shriek that ANITA listens for. The scientists expected to see signals coming from the horizon or reflecting off the ice from cosmic rays hitting the atmosphere above. What they did not expect, what the standard model of physics said was effectively impossible, was to see the signals coming from beneath the balloon, traveling upward through the Earth, passing through thousands of miles of solid rock and ice before exploding into the detector. To a high-energy neutrino, the Earth should be an impenetrable shield. The cross-section of interaction is so high that the particle should be absorbed long before it could traverse the planet's core. Seeing a high-energy particle emerge from the Earth is like shining a flashlight at a concrete wall and seeing the beam come out the other side brighter than it went in. The first anomalous event occurred during ANITA's first flight in 2006, but it was dismissed as a glitch, a bit of noise in the data that could be explained away by the chaotic nature of experimental physics. But then it happened again in 2014 during the third flight. The sensor detected a high-energy particle shower erupting from the ice at a steep angle, blasting upward with an energy of 0.6 exelectronvolts. The physics community was sent into a tailspin. They frantically modeled every possible source of error. Could it be radio waves from the ice surface reflecting strangely? Could it be a secret military transmission? Could it be a misunderstanding of the ice's refractive index? One by one, the mundane explanations were ruled out. The signal didn't look like a reflection. The polarization of the radio waves was inconsistent with a signal bouncing off the ice surface. It didn't match any known human transmission. It looked unmistakably like a tau neutrino, a heavy cousin of the electron that had somehow traveled through the entire mass of the Earth without being stopped. According to the known laws of particle physics, the probability of a standard model particle surviving that journey at that energy level is less than 1 in a million. The Earth acts as a filter, screening out these particles. For one to make it through, the incoming flux would have to be so enormous that other observatories, like IceCube, buried deep in the ice, should have seen thousands of them. But IceCube saw nothing. ANITA was seeing a ghost, a particle that defied the rules of probability and the solidity of matter. The silence from the IceCube observatory was the smoking gun that transformed the ANITA anomaly from a curiosity into a crisis. IceCube is a massive neutrino detector consisting of thousands of optical sensors buried a mile deep in the Antarctic ice, designed specifically to catch these high-energy particles. If a source in deep space, a blazar or a supernova, was blasting Earth with enough neutrinos that one could punch all the way through to ANITA, IceCube should have been lighting up like a Christmas tree. The fact that IceCube remained dark meant there was no external source. The particle didn't come from a distant galaxy. It didn't travel through the Earth in the conventional sense. This paradox forces us to consider the unthinkable. The particle didn't travel through the Earth. It traveled back in time. In the Captain symmetric universe model, a particle traveling backward in time, in the mirror universe, would appear to us as a particle traveling forward in time with the opposite charge and parity. From the perspective of the mirror universe, this might have been a standard cosmic ray crashing into the Earth. But because of the inverted timeline, the event manifests in our reality as a particle emerging from the ground, seemingly out of nowhere. defying the cross-section limits of the standard model. The Anita anomaly might be the first direct physical evidence of the Kapton mirror, a leak in the temporal seal that separates the twins. If the Anita detection is indeed a glimpse of the hidden twin, it fundamentally alters our understanding of the arrow of time and the concept of now. We intuitively feel that the past is gone, erased by the passage of time, and that the future is unwritten. But in a symmetric universe, the Big Bang is a Janus point, a two-faced gateway where time flows in opposite directions. This means that the entities in the anti-universe are not living backwards like a film played in reverse. Their biology, their thoughts, their entropy would all function normally relative to their own timeline. They would remember their past, which is our future, and move toward their future, which is our past. The only difference is the relative orientation. This symmetry solves the problem of the low entropy initial state of the universe. Physicists have always struggled to explain why the universe began in such a highly ordered state, a condition necessary for the arrow of time to exist. In the twin universe model, the Big Bang is simply the point of minimum entropy between two expanding halves. The universe didn't start in a special state by chance. It started in the middle of a process that naturally flows outward in both temporal directions. This implies that the end of our universe, the heat death where all stars burn out, is mirrored by a similar heat death in the twin universe in the deep past. We are two bubbles of order drifting away from each other into an ocean of eternal chaos. The existence of a mirror universe also casts a terrifying light on the nature of black holes and the information paradox that plagued Stephen Hawking for decades. Hawking showed that black holes emit radiation and eventually evaporate, seemingly destroying the information of everything that ever fell inside them, which violates the laws of quantum mechanics. But if the universe has a Kapton twin, the information isn't destroyed. It is passed through the singularity into the mirror realm. Black holes might act as the gravitational anchors connecting the two realities, or even as transit points where the fabric of space-time is twisted enough to touch the other side. Some theoretical physicists have proposed that what we perceive as the interior of a black hole could be a region of space-time linked to the anti-universe. The matter that falls in here might contribute to the white hole expansion of the twin, or simply be stored in the holographic boundary between the worlds. This would mean that every black hole in our galaxy is a scar in the tissue of reality, a place where the separation between the matter universe and the antimatter universe is dangerously thin. The gravitational waves we detect from colliding black holes might be the ripples of interactions that shake the foundations of both timelines, tremors that pass through the mirror itself. As we delve deeper into this investigation, we must ask, where exactly is this other universe? Is it far away in some higher dimension? Or is it superimposed right on top of us? The mathematics of the Kapton model suggests something far more claustrophobic than a distant parallel dimension. The twin universe occupies the same spacetime as we do, but on the other side of the temporal coordinate. It is not elsewhere, it is elsewhen. The ghostly right-handed neutrinos that make up dark matter and constitute the bulk of the mass in the universe are interpenetrating our galaxy right now. They are passing through your body, through the Earth, through the Sun, completely unaware of our existence because they interact only via gravity. We are walking through a crowded room of ghosts, oblivious to the fact that the majority of the universe is made of stuff we cannot touch or see. The visible universe, the stars, the planets, the gas clouds, is just the froth on top of a deep, invisible ocean of these mirror particles. This realization transforms our view of the cosmos from a vast, empty void into a dense, teeming medium where two realities coexist in a ghostly superposition, separated only by the direction of time's arrow. We are not alone in the dark. We are simply blind to the other half of the room. The most disturbing implication of the hidden twin theory is the potential for contact. If the separation between the two universes is based on the direction of time and the parity of particles, what happens if that separation fails? The Anita anomaly suggests that high-energy events can bridge the gap, sending particles skipping across the temporal boundary. If a macroscopic object, or worse, a region of space, were to flip its Kapton orientation, it would instantly become antimatter relative to us. The result would not just be a collision, it would be total annihilation, A single gram of antimatter interacting with matter releases the energy of a nuclear bomb. If the barrier between the universes is permeable, then we are constantly at risk of vacuum decay, a catastrophic event where a bubble of the other reality nucleates within ours. This bubble would expand at the speed of light, rewriting the laws of physics and erasing all matter in its path. We would never see it coming. One moment the universe is here, and the next, the fundamental constants have shifted, and our atoms simply cease to bind together. The stability of our existence depends entirely on the integrity of the mirror. We are like insects skating on the surface tension of a pond, unaware that the slightest disturbance could plunge us into the depths below. This theory also forces us to reevaluate the silence of the Fermi paradox. For 70 years, we have pointed our radio telescopes at the stars, listening for the hum of alien civilizations, and found only static. We assume this means we are alone, or that civilizations destroy themselves before they can communicate. But the hidden twin theory offers a third, more bizarre option. The universe is teeming with life, but half of it is logically inaccessible to us. If the twin universe evolved under the same physical laws, it is just as likely to host stars, planets, and intelligent observers. There could be a mirror Earth, a mirror civilization, looking out at their own night sky, wondering where everyone is. We could be occupying the same region of the galaxy as a vast interstellar empire in the twin universe. But because they are made of antimatter and moving backward in time, our signals pass through each other like ships in the night. The great silence isn't a sign of emptiness, it's a sign of blindness. We are shouting into the void, not realizing that the void is shouting back in a frequency we are physically incapable of receiving. The dark forest of the cosmos might be darker than we thought, containing not just silent hunters, but entire ghost civilizations that we can never meet without destroying ourselves. Let us return to the Anita anomaly, the thread that threatens to unravel the sweater. When the physicists first saw the data, they tried to save the standard model by proposing that the particle wasn't a neutrino at all, but a Stauss lepton, a hypothetical particle from supersymmetry theories. But supersymmetry has failed every test at the Large Hadron Collider. The particles it predicts simply haven't shown up. The Kaplan symmetric universe doesn't need new particles. It only uses the ones we know exist, neutrinos. Specifically, it relies on the existence of heavy, sterile neutrinos. In our universe, we only see light, left-handed neutrinos. But the math demands that heavy, right-handed neutrinos exist. If the Anita particle was a decaying heavy neutrino from the mirror sector, it would explain why it could penetrate the Earth. It didn't travel as a standard neutrino. It traveled as a ghost particle, a heavy sterile neutrino that interacts so weakly it can pass through the core before decaying into the visible particles Anita detected. This decay signature is the fingerprint of the twin. It is the smoking gun that tells us the standard model is incomplete, not because we are missing particles, but because we are missing half the geometry of the universe. We have been trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle with half the pieces in the box, unaware that the other half are scattered on the floor of a room we cannot see. The heavy sterile neutrino is the key to unlocking the physics of the hidden twin. If this particle exists, it is the bridge between the two worlds. It is the only particle that can oscillate between the two realities, acting as a messenger across the Kaplan divide. Neutrino oscillation is a known phenomenon. We know that the three known flavors of neutrinos, electron, muon, tau, change into one another as they travel through space. The hidden twin theory extends this oscillation to include the state of reality itself. A neutrino could theoretically oscillate from a left-handed state in our universe to a right-handed state in the mirror universe and back again. This means that the fabric of reality is porous at the quantum level. Matter isn't firmly here or there, it is constantly testing the boundary, vibrating against the mirror. The Anita anomaly might have been a moment where a massive flux of these particles synchronized their oscillation, punching a hole through the probability barrier. If we can learn to control or detect these oscillations reliably, we would have the first tool for mapping the topography of the twin universe. We would be like the first sailors learning to read the ocean currents, inferring the existence of a distant continent by the debris washing up on our shores. Critics of the Kaplan symmetric universe theory argue that it is too simple, that it relies on geometric elegance rather than hard data. They point out that we haven't found the neutrininoless double beta decay, a specific nuclear process that would prove neutrinos are their own antiparticles, a requirement for the theory to work. Experiments like Gerda and XO200 are currently running deep underground, shielded from cosmic rays, watching vats of exotic isotopes for a decay event that happens once every 10 to the power of 25 years. They are staring at the atoms, waiting for them to break the rules. If they see this decay, it proves that the distinction between matter and antimatter is not absolute, that they are two sides of the same coin. A confirmation of neutronalis double beta decay would be the final nail in the coffin of the old cosmology. It would confirm that the mechanism for creating the twin universe is built into the atoms of our own bodies. It would mean that we are not stable, solid entities, but standing waves in a quantum field that spans both directions of time. We are waiting for a single atomic nucleus to tell us that our reality is a mirror image. The tension in the physics community is palpable. Everyone knows that the next major discovery will likely overturn a century of dogma. The hidden twin theory also offers a stark, terrifying solution to the fine-tuning problem. Physicists have long marveled at how the constants of nature, the strength of gravity, the charge of the electron, the mass of the Higgs boson, seem perfectly tuned to allow life to exist. If they were slightly different, stars wouldn't burn, and atoms wouldn't hold together. The multiverse theory explains this by saying there are infinite universes with random constants, and we just happen to live in the one that works. But the Captain symmetric universe suggests there are no arbitrary constants. The universe is the way it is because it must be symmetric. The constraints of having a mirror twin force the physical constants to settle into stable values. The universe isn't fine-tuned for life, it is fine-tuned for balance. Life is just a byproduct of the stability required to keep the two halves from annihilating each other. This is a humbling realization. We are not the purpose of the universe. We are the mold growing on the fulcrum of a cosmic scale. The reason the universe seems designed for us is that we are made of the same balanced math that holds the mirror in place. We are the result of a stalemate between two opposing temporal forces. There is another piece of evidence, one that James Webb is just beginning to uncover, that aligns disturbingly well with the Captain universe. Webb has found that galaxies in the very early universe, just a few 100 million years after the Big Bang, are far more massive and evolved than the standard model says they should be. They look like mature adults in a nursery. The standard model says it takes billions of years for gravity to pull gas together into such structures. But in a Captain symmetric universe, the boundary conditions at the Big Bang are different. The universe doesn't start from a singularity of infinite density. It starts from a big bounce, or a transition point, that allows for rapid structure formation. The ghost gravity of the twin universe would have acted as a seed, pulling matter together much faster than gravity alone could achieve in a single universe model. The massive galaxies Webb sees are the result of the gravitational pull from the other side of the mirror. We are looking at the fingerprints of the twin on the cradle of our own history. The impossible galaxies aren't impossible. They are simply being fed by the gravity of a past that is also a future. What if the Great Attractor, that mysterious gravitational anomaly pulling our entire Milky Way and thousands of other galaxies towards a point in the Centaurus constellation, is a mass concentration in the twin universe? We can't see what's pulling us because there is nothing there in our timeline. We are falling towards a gravitational ghost, a cluster of anti-galaxies in the mirror realm that happens to align with our position in space. We are being dragged across the universe by an invisible hand, accelerating towards a collision that can never happen because the object we are falling towards is receding into time faster than we can catch it. This would explain the bulk flow of the universe, the inexplicable river of galaxies moving in a direction that cosmic expansion doesn't predict. We are caught in the wake of the other ship. The large-scale structure of the cosmos, the filaments and voids, might be a double exposure, an interference pattern created by the overlap of two realities. We map the universe assuming we see all the mass. But if we are only seeing half, our maps are fundamentally wrong. We are navigating by half the stars. The psychological weight of this theory is heavy. It strips us of our uniqueness and our isolation. It suggests that duality is the fundamental nature of existence, light and dark, up and down, past and future, matter and antimatter. These are not separate concepts, but entangled pairs. If the universe has a twin, does it imply a determinism that negates free will? If the future of the twin is our past, and our future is their past, Is the entire history of the cosmos already written in the geometry of the Big Bang? The Kaplan model implies a block universe where all of time exists simultaneously, frozen in a four-dimensional crystal. We simply traverse it, experiencing the illusion of becoming. In this view, you are not living your life. You are reading a script that was printed 13.8 billion years ago. And somewhere, across the temporal void, your anti-self is reading the same script backward. The mirror doesn't just reflect space, it reflects destiny. The horror isn't that the universe is chaotic. The horror is that it is perfectly, terrifyingly scripted, a closed loop with no exit. Consider the nature of the vacuum. We think of empty space as nothingness, but quantum mechanics tells us it is a seething foam of virtual particles popping in and out of existence. In the Kaplan view, the vacuum is the surface of the mirror. It is the boundary where the two universes touch. Every time a particle pair is created and annihilated in the vacuum, it is a momentary interaction between the two worlds. The zero-point energy that permeates the cosmos is the tension of this boundary. If we could tap into this, we would be drawing energy from the annihilation potential of the twin universe. It sounds like science fiction, but some physicists argue that dark energy, the mysterious force accelerating the expansion of the universe, is exactly this: the tension of the vacuum responding to the separation of the twins. As the two universes drift further apart in time, the tension on the geometric tether increases, stretching space itself. We are not just expanding, we are being pulled apart by the temporal distance between the two halves of reality. Dark energy is the elastic snap of a cosmic rubber band stretched to its breaking point. The Big Crunch was once the favored theory for the end of the world, gravity eventually pulling everything back together. But with dark energy, we face the Big Freeze, a lonely, cold death. However, the Kaplan symmetric model offers a third option: the Big Snap. If the expansion is driven by the separation of the twins, there may come a point where the geometry snaps back. The two universes could reverse their temporal trajectories, collapsing back toward the Big Bang. For us, it would look like the sky turning blue shifted as galaxies rush toward us. Time would begin to compress. We would not just die, we would return to the source. The universe would breathe in after billions of years of breathing out. This cyclic cosmology implies that we are trapped in an eternal recurrence, living this timeline over and over again, expanding and contracting in a heartbeat that lasts for eons. The hidden twin isn't just a neighbor, it is the other half of the lung. We cannot exist without it, and its fate is our fate. But let's look closer at the Anita data again. The energy of the particles was specific: 0.6 exaelectronvolts. This isn't random. It matches the predicted mass of a specific type of right-handed neutrino decaying. The precision is haunting. It's like finding a key that fits a lock you haven't built yet. This specificity is why the data refuses to die, despite the scientific community's attempts to bury it. It stands as a monolith of evidence in a desert of speculation. The signal came from the ice, but the ice was just the medium. The source was the deep structure of space-time beneath our feet. If we accept the data, we must accept the ghost. And if we accept the ghost, we must accept that our definition of reality is only 50% correct. We are living in a semiverse, oblivious to the other half. The cognitive dissonance required to ignore this is staggering. We build billion-dollar colliders to smash protons looking for answers, while the answers are raining down on us from the ground up, screaming in radio waves that we try to label as noise. The concept of time reversal in the anti-universe needs to be clarified, because it is the most misunderstood aspect of the theory. It does not mean that events happen before their causes in a chaotic way. Causality still holds. In the anti-universe, dropping a cup causes it to break. But relative to us, the broken cup is reassembling. This relativity of time is crucial. It means there is no absolute past or future. There is only away from the Big Bang and toward the Big Bang. Both universes are moving away from the singularity. We call our direction future. They call their direction future. But if we could communicate, their future would look like our past. This symmetry is why we can never meet. To meet them, we would have to travel backward in time, which is forbidden by the second law of thermodynamics in our frame. The barrier is thermodynamic. We are separated not by distance, but by entropy. We are burning the candle at both ends, and the flame is moving away from the center. Neutrinos are the only particles that might treat this entropy barrier as a suggestion rather than a law. Because they have almost no mass and travel at nearly the speed of light, they experience almost no time. For a neutrino, the journey from the Big Bang to today is an instant. They exist on the razor's edge of the temporal horizon. This is why they are the likely candidates for cross-verse leakage. A neutrino doesn't fully commit to a timeline. It skates the boundary. The Anita particle might have been a confused neutrino, a particle that didn't know which way time was flowing, so it chose both until it hit the ice. When it slammed into the Antarctic sheet, it was forced to choose a reality, collapsing its wave function into our timeline and releasing the energy of its decision as a radio burst. We witnessed a quantum decision on a macroscopic scale. We saw a particle choose to be real in our world. If the hidden twin theory is true, it revolutionizes our search for the origin of life. We assume life is a rare accident of chemistry. But if the universe is symmetric, does biology have a mirror? Is there anti-life made of anti-carbon and anti-water? The laws of physics allow for complex chemistry with antimatter. It would look and behave exactly like our matter as long as it didn't touch normal matter. Anti-stars would shine with anti-photons, which are just photons, since light is its own anti-particle. Anti-planets would have geology and weather. The mirror universe isn't a chaotic wasteland. It is a fully realized cosmos. It could have its own evolution, its own dinosaurs, its own internet. The terrifying thought is not that it is empty, but that it is full, and we can never know for sure. We are two civilizations living in the same house, forever invisible to each other, separated by the phase shift of time. The cosmic microwave background radiation, CMB, is the oldest light in the universe, the afterglow of the Big Bang. We study it for maps of the early universe. But there are anomalies in the CMB, the cold spot, the axis of evil, patterns that don't fit the standard random distribution. The hidden twin theory offers an explanation. These are scars from the separation. When the two universes decoupled, they might have left an imprint on each other, a gravitational bruise that persists to this day. The cold spot might be the shadow of a supervoid in the twin universe, projecting its emptiness into our timeline through gravity. We are reading the biography of our twin in the static of our sky. The axis of evil, a strange alignment of structures in the universe, might be the axis of rotation of the entire Captain system. The universe has a spine, and we are just the ribs on one side. What happens if the symmetry is imperfect? What if the mirror is slightly warped? Then the two universes would not be exact copies. One might evolve faster or accumulate more mass. This imbalance could lead to a catastrophe down the line. If one universe becomes significantly heavier, it could drag the other one back in time, reversing the expansion. Or it could cause the brain of reality to tear. The assumption of perfect symmetry is a mathematical ideal. Reality is rarely ideal. The slight preponderance of matter in our universe, the 1 in a billion that survived, suggests the mirror might be cracked. We might be the leak from the other side. Perhaps the twin universe is the perfect one, the one where everything annihilated, and we are the mistake, the asymmetric debris that refused to die. We are the error code in the program. The search for the hidden twin is not just about understanding the Big Bang. It is about understanding the future of physics. The standard model is broken. It cannot explain gravity, dark matter, or dark energy. It is a dead end. The Captain's symmetric universe opens a new highway. It simplifies the universe, reducing the number of arbitrary constants. It is beautiful in its austerity. But beauty in physics often hides terror. The terror here is the realization that our perspective is fundamentally limited. We are measuring the universe with a ruler that only exists in one direction. We are trying to understand a sphere by looking at a circle. To truly understand, we have to step out of time. And since we cannot, we are left analyzing the echoes, the ghosts, and the anomalies like Anita, hoping they are enough to reconstruct the face of the twin we lost at birth. As we move forward into the investigation, remember this. Every time you look in a mirror, you are seeing a 2D representation of Captain symmetry. Your reflection is parity flipped. If you could step into the mirror, you would be backwards. The universe does this on a cosmic scale. The stars you see are the reflection of the stars you don't. The gravity you feel is the sum of the mass you see and the mass you don't. We are not living in a universe. We are living in a multiverse of two, a binary system of realities spinning around a common center of creation. The investigation into this twin is the most important detective story in history because the suspect, the victim, and the witness are all the same entity, the universe itself. The implications of the Captain's symmetric universe extend into the very quantum foam that makes up the fabric of spacetime. If the universe is a split entity, then every quantum fluctuation is a negotiation between the two timelines. A virtual particle pair popping into existence is a momentary bridge. If they annihilate, the bridge closes. If they don't, if they are ripped apart by the event horizon of a black hole, one falls in and one escapes. Hawking radiation might be the mechanism by which the twin universe feeds us, or we feed it. We are exchanging energy across the temporal void, slowly evaporating into each other. This means the universes are coupled. They are not independent. If the twin dies, we die. If the twin collapses, we collapse. We are Siamese twins joined at the Big Bang, sharing vital organs of gravity and vacuum energy. The Anita anomaly is not the only evidence. There are strange isotopic ratios in ancient rocks, subtle deviations in the decay rates of particles, that hint at a background influence we can't identify. We call it experimental noise, but consistent noise is a signal. The noise is the hum of the twin universe. It is the background static of a reality running in reverse. If we could tune our instruments to the right frequency, we might hear the radio broadcasts of the anti-civilizations, played backward and inverted. It would sound like chaos to us, but mathematically it would be structured information. We are ignoring the alien signal because it is encrypted in time. This theory fundamentally changes the definition of the Big Bang. It was not an explosion in space, it was an explosion of space and time from a null point. Before the Big Bang, there was no before, but in the Captain model, the question what happened before the Big Bang has a valid answer. The other universe happened, or rather is happening. The pre-Big Bang era is simply the timeline of the twin. To them, we are the pre-Big Bang era. The singularity is not a wall. It is the equator of time. We are heading north, they are heading south. The world is round, and time is symmetric. There is no edge, only the horizon where the two geometries meet. The danger of the hidden twin is not invasion, it is ontological. It threatens our sense of reality. If we are just one half of a pair, are we the real one, or are we the shadow? In a symmetric system, neither is superior. But our ego demands centrality. We named the stuff we are made of matter, and the other stuff antimatter, defining them by their opposition to us. But to the twin, we are the antimatter. We are the anti-people, living in the anti-earth. We are the monsters in their equations. This relativity of existence is the ultimate Copernican revolution. We are not just not the center of the solar system. We are not even the reference point for what counts as matter. If the barrier between the universes is permeable to gravity, then we might be able to map the twin universe by studying the motion of our own galaxies. The dark matter maps we create are actually maps of the anti-galaxies. When we see a dark matter halo surrounding a galaxy, we are seeing the gravitational shadow of an anti-galaxy that occupies the same space but in the mirror timeline. They are superimposed. A galaxy and an anti-galaxy, spinning together, held in place by their mutual gravity, but never touching. It is a cosmic ghost story. Every galaxy is haunted by its twin. The Milky Way has a partner, an anti-Milky Way, rotating in the opposite direction, invisible but heavy. We are dancing a waltz with a partner we cannot see. This superposition explains why dark matter is most concentrated in the centers of galaxies, exactly where normal matter is. The twins grew together. The seed of the Milky Way and the seed of the anti-Milky Way were laid down at the same quantum fluctuation in the Big Bang. They evolved in lockstep, bound by gravity, separated by time. This solves the cusp core problem of dark matter distribution that frustrates standard simulations. The dark matter follows the visible matter because it is the reflection of the visible matter's history. We are looking at our own gravitational reflection. We are chasing our own tail. The Anita scientists are planning new missions. They want to fly higher, with more sensitive equipment. They want to catch the ghost again. If they find more upward-moving particles, the evidence will become undeniable. The PUEO mission, Payload for Ultra-High Energy Observations, is the successor to ANITA. It is designed to filter out the noise and focus on the anomaly. It is a hunter-killer for the Standard Model. If PUEO confirms the ANITA signal, the textbooks will burn. We will have to rewrite physics from Chapter 1. The day that data comes down will be the day we officially acknowledge that we are not alone in time. There are also implications for high-energy cosmic rays. We detect particles hitting the atmosphere with energies so high they shouldn't exist. The oh my god particle. They exceed the GZK limit, a theoretical speed limit for particles traveling through space. Where do they get this energy? Perhaps they are leakage from the twin universe, particles that have fallen down the time gradient and picked up speed, like a penny dropped from a skyscraper. They are debris from the other side, accelerating into our reality with the momentum of a universe running in reverse. We are being bombarded by the exhaust of the twin. The concept of the multiverse is often used to explain away weirdness. But the mirror universe is different. It is constrained. It is predictive. It says if X is here, negative X must be there. It is falsifiable. That makes it dangerous to establish science. It makes specific predictions about neutrino masses and dark matter density. If those predictions hold, it wins. The theory is currently passing the tests that string theory has failed for decades. It is gaining ground because it is simple, and nature, at its core, seems to prefer simplicity over the Baroque complexity of 11 dimensions. What if the expansion of the universe is an illusion caused by our changing perspective on time? In some versions of the theory, the universe isn't expanding. The scale of time is changing. We are shrinking relative to the cosmos. Or the cosmos is cooling in a way that mimics expansion. The twin universe would provide the counterbalance. This is a fringe interpretation, but it highlights how little we truly know. If we misunderstand time, we misunderstand everything. The hidden twin forces us to look at the clock and ask if it is running forward, or if we are just walking backward. The technological implications are non-existent for now, but the philosophical ones are immediate. If we live in a symmetric reality, then dualism is the fundamental law. Good and evil, light and dark, matter and antimatter. These are physical manifestations of the geometry of God, or whatever you call the initial condition. The universe is a machine designed to separate opposites. The Big Bang was the separator. The end of the universe will be the reintegration. We are living in the brief interval of separation, the moment of complexity between the unity of the beginning and the unity of the end. Imagine the sky of the twin Earth. The constellations would be different, distorted by the different random movements of their stars, but the large-scale structure would be the same. They would see the same great attractor. They would see the same cosmic microwave background, though for them it would be the future, not the past. No, for them it is also the past. They are moving away from the Big Bang too. That is the mind bender. We are both moving away from the center, back to back. We can never turn around to see each other because turning around in time means becoming antimatter. We are running a race in opposite directions. The ANITA anomaly is the crack in the wall. It is the glitch in the matrix. It is the moment where the rendering engine of the universe failed to keep the two layers separate. We should be grateful for it. Without anomalies, we would be trapped in a false understanding forever. The anomaly is the truth trying to get in. It is the universe screaming, "Look at me, I am more than you think." We must listen. We must follow the neutrino trail back to the ice, back through the Earth, back to the moment where time split in two. If we ignore this, if we classify the ANITA data as systematic error, we are committing scientific suicide. We are choosing comfort over discovery. The history of science is full of comfortable errors. Geocentrism, the steady-state universe, the ether. The hidden twin is the next heliocentrism. It displaces us from the center of reality and makes us just one planet in a solar system of universes. It is painful, but it is necessary. The pain of growth is better than the comfort of stagnation. As we prepare to leave the investigation phase and look at the future implications, we must hold this image in our minds. A universe that breathes. One lung breathes in matter, the other breathes in antimatter. We are the oxygen of the cosmos. The twin is the carbon dioxide. Or vice versa. The cycle is what matters. The symmetry is the heartbeat. If the heart stops, the universe dies. We are alive because the symmetry holds. We are alive because the mirror is intact. But mirrors are fragile. And we are starting to bang on the glass. Our particle colliders, our high-energy experiments are poking at the fabric of space-time. We are creating conditions that haven't existed since the Big Bang. Are we risking a fracture? Could we accidentally trigger a vacuum decay event that merges the timelines? Some physicists worry that we are playing with matches in a room full of dynamite. The barrier between the universes might be stable naturally, but is it stable against intelligent interference? The ultimate irony would be if we found the twin universe, only to destroy both of us in the process. The catastrophic resonance theory suggests that observing the twin collapses the wave function that keeps us separate. By measuring the ghost, we make it real, and if we make it real, we occupy the same quantum state. Pauli's exclusion principle says two fermions cannot occupy the same state. If we force the issue, reality has to delete one of us. Or both. Curiosity killed the cat, and in this case, the cat is the cosmos. We are standing on the precipice of a new era of cosmology. The dark ages of, quote, "we don't know what 95% of the universe is made of," are ending. The Captain Symmetric universe lights up the darkroom. It tells us that the 95% is just the other 5% viewed through a mirror. It turns the unknown into the known, but inaccessible. It solves the mystery by creating a prison. We know what's in the cell next door, but we don't have the key. And maybe we shouldn't want it. The investigation concludes with a single, undeniable fact. The universe is not what it seems. It is deeper, stranger, and more symmetrical than we dared to imagine. The Anata anomaly is the compass pointing north. We must follow it. We must launch the balloons. We must bury the detectors. We must find the twin. Because until we do, we are orphans, wandering in the dark, telling ourselves stories about inflation and dark energy to keep the fear at bay. The fear that we are only half a person. We have looked at the evidence. We have seen the impossible particles. We have seen the missing antimatter. We have seen the gravitational ghosts. The verdict is approaching. The universe has a twin, and it is time to meet the family. But as we turn the page to the future, we must ask, what happens when the twins reunite? Is it a family reunion or a murder-suicide? The answer lies in the end of time. To truly grasp the magnitude of what the Captain Symmetric universe implies, we must return to the invisible scaffolding that holds our reality together, dark matter. For nearly a century, astronomers have stared into the abyss, baffled by the fact that galaxies spin as if they are 5 times heavier than they appear. The outer stars of the Milky Way careen through space at speeds that should fling them into the intergalactic void. Yet they are held in place by an unseen hand. We have mapped this invisible mass, creating vast spiderwebs of gravity that span the cosmos. But we have never touched it. The mainstream scientific community has spent billions constructing underground tanks of xenon and germanium, hoping to catch a Bulliu imp, a weakly interacting massive particle, knocking into an atomic nucleus. But the silence from these detectors is deafening. The mirror universe theory proposes a solution that is both elegant and horrifying. There are no WIMPs. There is no exotic new particle to find. The dark matter that binds our galaxy is simply the gravitational leakage of the right-handed neutrinos from the twin universe. These ghost particles, stable and heavy, cluster around our galaxies like invisible moths to a flame. We are not held together by some magical unknown substance. We are being cradled by the gravitational mass of the anti-universe. We are trapped in the grip of a ghost that occupies the same space as us but exists on the other side of the temporal mirror. The halo of dark matter surrounding the Milky Way is actually the halo of the anti-Milky Way, a gravitational overlap of two realities that can feel each other but never touch. The implications of identifying dark matter as mirror neutrinos are catastrophic for the supersymmetry industry that has dominated physics for 40 years. Supersymmetry, or SUSY, posits that every particle has a heavier superpartner, a selectron for the electron, a photino for the photon. It is a beautiful mathematical playground that has produced zero physical evidence. If the Captain Symmetric universe is correct, SUSY is dead. There are no superpartners. The universe is economical. It doesn't invent new particles for every problem. It uses the mirror symmetry to balance the books. This suggests that nature is far more ruthless and efficient than our Baroque theories allowed. The heavy right-handed neutrino is the only missing piece of the standard model required to explain the mass of the universe. By simply allowing for a mirror reflection, we solve the dark matter problem without inventing a single new force of nature. But this efficiency comes at a psychological cost. It means that the unknown isn't a treasure chest of new particles waiting to be discovered. It is a locked room containing the reflections of the particles we already know. We are not exploring an infinite ocean of possibilities. We are staring at a closed loop, a finite system where the only mystery left is the one thing we are forbidden to access: the other side of time. The death of supersymmetry is the birth of the mirror prison. Consider the nature of the voids in deep space, the vast spherical regions of emptiness that span hundreds of millions of light-years, where galaxies are almost non-existent. In standard cosmology, these are just underdense regions that lost the gravitational tug-of-war to the galaxy clusters. But in a dual-universe scenario, these voids might be the domains where the mirror universe is most dense. If matter and antimatter or twin matter have a repulsive interaction on some scale, or if their distributions are complementary, then our voids could be their metropolises. While we look at the Boots void and see a terrifying expanse of nothingness, an observer in the anti-universe might look at the same coordinate and see a massive supercluster of anti-galaxies. The structure of the cosmos could be a checkerboard, where the white squares are our universe and the black squares are the twin. We fill the gaps in each other's reality. This exclusion principle, on a cosmic scale, would explain why we don't see annihilation events constantly. We are geometrically segregated by the fluctuations of the Big Bang. We are living in the pockets of space that the twin universe didn't claim, and they are living in the pockets we left behind. The universe is full, completely packed with matter and mirror matter, but we are phase-locked into seeing only 50% of the volume. The concept of inflation, the idea that the universe expanded exponentially in the first fraction of a second, has become a dogma in cosmology because it solves the horizon problem. It explains why the universe looks the same in every direction. But inflation is a monster of a theory. It requires a scalar field called the inflaton that turned on, smoothed the universe, and then turned off, leaving no trace. It is the equivalent of saying a wizard did it. The Captain symmetric universe makes inflation obsolete. In the mirror model, the universe looks uniform not because it blew up instantly, but because it is continuous across the Big Bang. The interactions between the twin universes at the moment of the singularity naturally smooth out the geometry without needing a magical expansion field. This is the Big Bounce scenario. The universe didn't begin from nothing. It bounced from a prior state of contraction into a state of expansion. The twin universe is the other side of that bounce. We are the exhalation of a cosmic breath that has been holding since eternity. By removing inflation, we remove the need for a multiverse of infinite bubbles. We return to a single, unified, symmetric system. It is a smaller, tighter, more claustrophobic reality, but it is one that makes sense. We are not a random accident in a chaotic foam. We are the inevitable result of a symmetric bounce. Let us confront the arrow of time again, because it is the source of our deepest existential dread. Why do we remember the past but not the future? Why do cups break but never unbreak? This is the second law of thermodynamics. Entropy disorder always increases. But in the mirror universe, the arrow points the other way relative to us. This means that at the Big Bang, entropy was at a minimum. It was the moment of perfect order. As we move away from it, things fall apart. As the twin moves away from it, in our past, things also fall apart. We are two rivers flowing from a single mountain peak. But this implies that the future of the universe is a state of maximum disorder, a heat death, where all energy is dissipated. However, some physicists speculate that gravity acts as an ordering force that counters this. If the two universes eventually stop expanding and collapse back toward each other, entropy might reverse. The Big Crunch would not be a chaotic implosion, but a reordering, a rewinding of the clock. We would not just die, we would unhappen. Our memories would dissolve. As the neural connections unformed, the universe would systematically dismantle itself, placing every atom back in its box, preparing for the next bounce. The captain's symmetry guarantees that the end is the mirror of the beginning. The most chilling evidence for the captain's symmetric universe might be hiding in the very radiation that bathes us, the cosmic microwave background, CMB. This static, the afterglow of creation, has a strange anomaly known as the axis of evil. It is a line that seems to divide the universe into two distinct hemispheres, with different temperatures and signal properties. Standard cosmology says this shouldn't exist. The universe should be isotropic, the same in all directions. The axis of evil suggests the universe has a preferred direction, a spine. In the Captain model, this axis aligns perfectly with the concept of a rotational symmetry between the two universes. If the Big Bang involved a rotation, a spin, of the primordial singularity, then the separation of the twins would happen along an axis. We are seeing the axis of rotation of the total reality. We are living in a spinning universe, and the centrifugal force of that spin might be what drives the expansion, masquerading as dark energy. The axis of evil is the pole of the world. It tells us that we are not in a random cloud. We are in a structured, rotating machine, and somewhere below the equator of the Big Bang, the anti-universe is spinning in the opposite direction. Let's talk about the neutrinos again, specifically the sterile neutrinos that make up the dark matter in this theory. Why are they called sterile? Because they do not feel the weak nuclear force. They are ghosts in the machine. They can pass through a block of lead a light-year thick without hitting anything. The only thing they feel is gravity. This makes them the ultimate observers. They are everywhere, watching, weighing down the universe but never intervening. In the twin universe, these right-handed neutrinos would be the standard particles, interacting via their own version of the weak force, while our left-handed neutrinos would be the sterile ghosts to them. We are their dark matter. Think about that. To the inhabitants of the anti-Earth, we are the invisible, heavy ghosts haunting their galaxies. We are the reason their stars don't fly apart. Our existence is the gravitational glue for their reality, just as theirs is for ours. It is a symbiotic relationship of mutual haunting. We are keeping each other's universes intact by the sheer weight of our unreachable existence. The Anita anomaly is not the only crack in the ice. There is also the muon G2 experiment at Fermilab. Physicists measure the magnetic wobble of the muon, a heavy electron, as it spins in a magnetic field. The standard model predicts a very specific wobble. The experiment measures a different one. The difference is tiny, but in physics, a tiny difference is a canyon. This discrepancy suggests that the vacuum is not empty. The muon is interacting with virtual particles popping in and out of existence. The Captain symmetric universe provides a candidate for these virtual particles, the interference from the mirror sector. If the vacuum is the boundary between the two worlds, then the muon is feeling the magnetic tug of its anti-twin on the other side. We are measuring the magnetic field of the universe plus the magnetic leak of the anti-universe. The wobble is the tremor caused by the proximity of the hidden twin. Every time a particle spins in our world, it is dragging against the friction of the mirror world. There is a terrifying possibility that arises from the interaction of these two universes: annealing. In metallurgy, annealing is heating a metal and cooling it to remove defects. If the two universes are coupled, they might be slowly annealing each other, removing the defects of complexity. Life, consciousness, and structure are, thermodynamically speaking, defects, localized pockets of low entropy. The universe wants to be smooth and dead. The interaction between the twins might be an accelerated path to equilibrium. The reason we haven't seen aliens might be that advanced civilizations trigger a local recoupling of the twins. When a civilization reaches a certain energy level, perhaps by experimenting with high-energy neutrino beams or vacuum energy, they might accidentally puncture the barrier. The result would be a localized annihilation event, a great filter that wipes the slate clean. We look for Dyson spheres and find nothing but dust. Maybe the dust is what remains after a civilization touches the mirror. This brings us back to the black holes. If black holes are the drains of the universe, where do they lead? In the Captain model, a black hole in our universe might correspond to a white hole in the twin universe. A white hole is a theoretical object that nothing can enter, but matter and energy constantly spew out of. It is a reverse black hole. If this connection holds, then the matter that falls into Sagittarius A, the black hole at the center of our galaxy, is being chewed up, inverted, and sprayed out into the past of the twin universe. We are fueling their Big Bang, or at least their local energy sources. And conversely, the black holes in their universe are spewing matter into ours. But we don't see white holes, or do we? Some physicists have suggested that the Big Bang itself was a white hole event, or perhaps gamma ray bursts. Those sudden, inexplicably violent explosions in deep space are momentary white hole eruptions, leaks from the twin universe where matter is being injected into our timeline with catastrophic force. We are watching the exhaust ports of the other reality. The concept of time becomes slippery when you stare at the mirror too long. We say the twin universe runs backward, but that is a human-centric bias. From a geometric perspective, time is just a coordinate, like north or south. The Big Bang is the South Pole. We are walking north. They are walking north, but on the other side of the planet. To us, they are upside down and walking away. To them, we are upside down and walking away. The terrifying part is that the planet of space-time might be closed. If you walk north long enough on Earth, you cross the pole and start walking south. Does this apply to time? If the universe is cyclic, does our far future eventually wrap around and become the ancient past of the twin universe? Are we marching towards a transformation where we become the antimatter for the next cycle? The Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, is the perfect symbol for Captain Symmetry. We are consuming our own history to build our future, which eventually becomes the food for the past. The search for the neutrino-less double beta decay is the hunt for the Majorana nature of the neutrino. A Majorana particle is its own antiparticle. If neutrinos are Majorana particles, they can switch teams. They can cross the line. This would mean that the wall between the universes is not solid, it is a membrane. It allows for osmosis. This osmosis could explain why we exist at all. Maybe the tiny imbalance that allowed matter to survive wasn't a flaw in the Big Bang, but a slow leak during the first few seconds. We are the water that dripped through the ceiling before the cracks sealed. We are the puddle on the floor of reality. And now, billions of years later, we are trying to find the crack to see where we came from. But if we open it, the flood might finish the job. Let us consider the dark forest of the cosmos again. If the twin universe exists, it doubles the real estate of reality. It doubles the chances for life. But it also doubles the danger. If they are running backward in time relative to us, their future technological singularities are in our distinct past. Could they have influenced our formation? Could the laws of physics we observe be the result of their engineering? This is the biocosm hypothesis taken to the extreme. Maybe the physical constants are not natural. Maybe they are the artificial constraints set up by a civilization on the other side of the Big Bang to ensure the stability of the timeline. We might be living in a terrarium built by the ghosts of the future past. The symmetry is too perfect, the balance too precise. It feels engineered. The James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, is our best hope for seeing the edge of this illusion. By looking back to the dark ages of the universe just after the Big Bang, Webb is peering into the era where the two universes were closest together. If there was interaction, if there was gravitational drag or magnetic coupling between the twins, the evidence will be in the formation of the first stars. We are looking for impossible stars, population 3 stars that form too early, or black holes that are too massive. These anomalies would be the scars of the separation. The impossible galaxies Webb has already found. Massive, bright, mature galaxies at the dawn of time are exactly what you would expect if the gravity of the twin universe was helping to pull matter together. We are seeing the fingerprints of the midwife on the newborn universe. The cosmic neutrino background, CNB, is the neutrino equivalent of the CMB. It is a sea of ancient neutrinos released 1 second after the Big Bang. We cannot detect it yet. Our instruments aren't sensitive enough. But if we could, the Captain theory predicts it would look very different from the standard model prediction. It would show a pattern of interference, a mixing of left and right-handed states. Capturing a map of the CNB is the Holy Grail. It would be a picture of the universe when it was still unified with its twin. It would be the ultrasound of the twins in the womb. Until we have that map, we are guessing at the shape of the monster. But the shadows it casts are getting longer. There is a psychological horror in the idea of the block universe that Captain Symmetry implies. If the future of the twin is our past, then the future already exists in some sense. The movie is already on the reel. We are just the light of the projector moving frame by frame. This negates the chaos and randomness of quantum mechanics at the macroscopic level. It suggests a superdeterminism. Your death, the end of the Earth, the death of the Sun. These are geometrically fixed points in the 4D crystal of spacetime. We are rushing towards them on rails. The freedom we feel is just ignorance of the track ahead. The twin universe is the other rail. We are locked together, hurtling towards the terminus. The mystery of baryogenesis, the creation of matter, is solved by the twin, but at the cost of our specialness. In the standard view, we are the lucky survivors. In the Captain view, we are just the left shoe. The right shoe exists, we just can't wear it. This symmetry restores a cold, clinical order to the cosmos. It removes the miracle. There was no lucky break. There was simply X and menage X. The equation sums to zero. The universe is, fundamentally, nothing. It is a zero-sum game played out on a grand scale. We are just the positive integer, trying to pretend the negative integer doesn't exist so we can feel like we have value. What if the Anita particles are not just random decay, but a signal? What if the timeline of the twin universe allows them to manipulate neutrinos to send messages backward in time to us? Tachyon theories, particles moving faster than light, have always been dismissed because they violate causality. But in a Captain universe, backward in time is a valid direction for the other sector. A sufficiently advanced civilization in the twin universe might be trying to warn us, or threaten us. The pulses detected by Anita might be the Morse code of a reality that is terrified of what we are doing. Stop the colliders. Stop the high-energy tests. You are shaking the walls. We interpret it as noise. They interpret it as a desperate plea. We must also consider the quote-quote-quote gravitational wave background. LIGO and Virgo are listening for the ripples in space-time caused by colliding black holes, but there is a predicted hum of background gravitational waves from the Big Bang itself. In the Captain model, this hum should have a specific polarization, a specific twist, caused by the separation of the twins. If we detect this primordial gravitational wave background, and it has the predicted Captain signature, the debate is over. We will have heard the snap of the wishbone breaking at the beginning of time. We are building the detectors now. LISA, the space-based observatory. We are building the ears to hear the birth cry of the twins. The island universe theory is dead. We are not an island. We are a tectonic plate pushing against another plate. The earthquakes we feel, the quantum fluctuations, the dark energy expansion, the dark matter anomalies, are the friction of that boundary. We are drifting on a sea of magma that consists of the other half of reality. And just like tectonic plates, sometimes they slip. The Anita event was a slip, a tremor. If a massive slip occurs, a subduction event, where a chunk of our reality slides under theirs, the energy release would be incomprehensible. We wouldn't just be destroyed, we would be erased from the timeline. Let's revisit the lithium problem. Big Bang nucleosynthesis predicts exactly how much hydrogen, helium, and lithium should have been created in the first 3 minutes. We measured the hydrogen and helium, and they match perfectly. But the lithium is wrong. There is 3 times less lithium-7 than there should be. Where did it go? The standard model has no answer. The Captain symmetric universe suggests that during the separation, interactions with the twin universe's neutrinos destroyed the excess lithium. It is a chemical fingerprint of the twin. The missing lithium isn't missing. It was the fuel paid to the ferryman to cross the river of time. The chemistry of the early universe was altered by the presence of the mirror. We are chemically distinct because of our twin. The concept of vacuum stability is currently keeping physicists up at night. The Higgs field, which gives particles mass, might be in a metastable state, like a ball resting on a false bottom of a valley. It could roll down to a lower energy state at any moment. If the twin universe exists, its Higgs field might be in a different state, or the tension between the two fields stabilizes the system. But if the twin universe ends or changes state, it could kick our Higgs field off the ledge. The result would be a bubble of true vacuum expanding at light speed, changing the laws of physics, making chemistry impossible. We exist at the mercy of the stability of the mirror. If they fall, we fall. The search for dark photons is another avenue. Dark photons would be the carriers of electromagnetism for the dark sector, or in this case, the twin universe. If dark matter is just mirror matter, it should have its own light. Dark light. We can't see it, but it might mix with our photons. This kinetic mixing would mean that occasionally a photon turns into a dark photon and vanishes, or a dark photon turns into a visible photon and appears out of nowhere. We are looking for light shining through a wall experiments. If we detect light appearing in a sealed dark box, it came from the mirror, it leaked through. We are literally trying to catch the glint of the other sun. The psychological impact of the Captain Universe cannot be overstated. It implies a shadow self. For every person here, is there a statistical counterpart in the twin? Not a literal doppelganger. Quantum mechanics prevents identical cloning, but a balancing agent. If our universe is dominated by entropy and decay, is the twin universe dominated by syntropy and growth? Are we the trash timeline, the one where things break, while they are the timeline where things heal? It is a romantic, tragic notion. But physics doesn't care about romance. It cares about conservation. And we are the ones conserving the chaos so they can have the order. Or perhaps we are both chaotic, just in different directions. The ultimate test of the hidden twin theory is the quote, gravitational lens. We see distant galaxies distorted by the gravity of massive objects in front of them. Sometimes we see lensing but no object. We call these dark lenses. Standard theory says it's a clump of cold, dark matter. CPT theory says it's a star or a black hole in the twin universe. It is an invisible object with mass. We are seeing the ghost of a star that is burning in the past of the anti-timeline. We are staring at a gravitational poltergeist. The more we map these dark lenses, the more we can reconstruct the geography of the invisible world. We are cartographers of the unseen. There is a theory called elliptic universe, where space closes back on itself. If you travel far enough, you return to the start. But what if the closure twists? What if it's a Mobius strip? If you travel around the universe and come back, you arrive as antimatter. You arrive in the twin universe. The two universes are actually one universe, with a twist in the topology. We are not separate. We are just on the front and back of the same twisted sheet. The twin is just us, seen after a long journey through the topology of spacetime. This would mean that the Anita particle didn't travel through time. It took a shortcut through the twist. We are currently building the Deep Underground Neutrino Experiment, DUNE. It will shoot a beam of neutrinos through the Earth from Illinois to South Dakota. It is designed to study oscillation. But it might accidentally become a telephone. If we can modulate the neutrino beam into right-handed states, we might be sending a signal into the twin sector. We are knocking on the door. Hello? Is anyone there? If something knocks back, a pulse of neutrinos that we didn't send, it will be the most significant moment in the history of life. It will be the first contact, not with aliens from another star, but with aliens from another time. The Captain Symmetric Universe is the ultimate cosmic horror because it traps us. It says there is no escape to a multiverse of infinite possibilities. There is only the binary choice, X or negative X. It is a digital universe, a bit state of 1 and 0. We are the 1, they are the 0, or perhaps we are the 0. It implies that reality is a computation, a balanced equation that must equal 0 at the end. We are just the fluctuating variables in a calculation that is trying to resolve itself. And when the calculation is done, when the symmetry is restored, the screen goes black. But until the screen goes black, we have the mystery. The Anita anomaly stands as the lighthouse in the fog. It refuses to be explained away. It demands a new physics. It demands that we look at the ice and see a portal. The particles are still hitting us. The rain of the twin universe is falling on our heads. We just need to learn how to feel it. The universe is speaking to us in the language of symmetry. It is saying, "You are not whole." And the quest of 21st century physics is to find the missing half, to heal the wound of the Big Bang, and to finally see the face of the hidden twin. As we conclude this investigation into the mirror, we are left with a sense of vertigo. The ground beneath us is not solid, it is transparent, and below it lies an inverted sky full of inverted stars. We are walking on the ceiling of another world. Gravity is the only thing that keeps us from falling into their sky, and them from falling into ours. We are held in a delicate, terrifying balance. The hidden twin is real. The math says so. The neutrinos say so. The universe is double. And we are just beginning to open our eyes to the double vision of reality. Yet, the most unsettling realization is that, if the twin universe is truly the mirror of our own, it must also grapple with its own dark mysteries. To them, we are the invisible, ghostly matter distorting their galaxies. We are their poltergeists. Imagine an alien astronomer in the anti-universe, peering through a telescope made of anti-glass, wondering why their galaxy spins too fast, hypothesizing the existence of mirror matter. They are looking for us right now. They are building detectors to find us. And the tragedy is, they have found us, just as we have found them, as a gravitational anomaly, a mathematical error, a ghost in the machine. We are haunting each other across the abyss of time, forever connected, forever alone. This mutual haunting raises a question about the evolution of the cosmos. If both universes are expanding, are they expanding into the same metaspace, or are they generating their own space as they go? If they occupy the same space, the expansion might eventually dilute the separation. The neutrinos might mix more frequently. The barrier might thin. In the deep future, trillions of years from now, the two universes might undergo a thermalization, merging into a single, chaotic soup of matter and antimatter radiation. The end of the universe might not be cold and dark, it might be a blinding flash of reunification. The final act of the cosmic play would be the embrace of the twins, followed by silence. But before the end, there is the puzzle of the dipole repeller. We know we are moving towards the great attractor, but we are also moving away from a vast region of emptiness called the dipole repeller. It pushes us, but gravity only pulls. It doesn't push. How can a void push a galaxy, unless the void is not empty? In the Captain model, the dipole repeller might be a region of high density in the twin universe. The push we feel is actually the gravitational pull of the twin universe's structures acting on us from a position that geometrically manifests as repulsion in our frame. We are being steered by the invisible geography of the anticosmos. We are puppets on gravitational strings held by the other side. We must also consider the role of quantum entanglement. If the two universes were born from the same singularity, every particle in our universe is likely entangled with a particle in the twin. Entanglement means that measuring one instantly affects the other, regardless of distance or time. This implies that our reality is not local. The state of an electron in your brain might be coupled to the state of a positron in the brain of a being in the twin universe. Are our thoughts independent? Or are we part of a coupled consciousness system? The spooky action at a distance that Einstein hated might be the spooky action across the timeline. We are puppets of the quantum correlation. The philosophical concept of eternalism posits that all points in time are equally real. The Captain universe is the physical embodiment of eternalism. The Big Bang is not in the past. It is the center of the coordinate system. It is as real as now. The twin universe is not potential. It is actual. This removes the special status of the present moment. The present is just where our consciousness happens to be focusing. If we could shift our focus, we could slide down the timeline to the Big Bang and up the other side into the twin. The mystics who claim that time is an illusion might have been solving the Captain equations without knowing it. The tau neutrino observed by Anita is particularly special. Tau neutrinos are the heaviest flavor. They are the most likely to interact. The fact that the anomaly was a tau suggests that the portal favors heavy particles. This aligns with the idea that the right-handed neutrinos of the twin universe are extremely heavy. When they decay, they cascade down into tau neutrinos. We are seeing the debris of giants. The twin universe might be a heavy world, dominated by high-mass particles, a sluggish, dense reality compared to our light, frantic one. We are the frothy foam. They are the deep water. What if the expansion of the universe is actually the two halves falling away from each other? Imagine a hyperdimensional sphere. The Big Bang is the North Pole. We are sliding down the surface toward the equator. The twin is sliding down the opposite side. As we slide, the longitude lines, space, get farther apart. That is expansion. But eventually we cross the equator and start sliding toward the South Pole. The expansion turns to contraction. The big crunch is the South Pole. At the South Pole, we meet the twin again. The universe is a closed loop. We are destined to collide. The expansion is just the first half of the journey. There are experiments planned to test CPT violation. If we find that nature doesn't respect this symmetry perfectly, the theory dies. But so far, Captain has held. It is the fortress of physics. Every time we try to breach it, we fail. The resilience of this symmetry is the strongest evidence for the twin. Nature doesn't hold on to a rule this tightly unless it is fundamental. The universe wants to be symmetric. It fights to maintain the balance. The hidden twin is the way the universe satisfies its own obsessive-compulsive need for zero-sum order. We are left with the image of the Janus point, the two-faced God looking into the past and future simultaneously. The universe is a Janus face. We are the face looking forward. The twin is the face looking back. But they share the same head. They share the same mind. The laws of physics are the thoughts of that mind. We are just the dream of one hemisphere. The terror comes when you realize that waking up means merging the faces. And a face with two sets of eyes looking in opposite directions is a monster we are not ready to see. The legacy of the Captain theory will likely be the demystification of the cosmos. It takes the spooky dark matter and mysterious inflation and replaces them with geometry. It turns the universe into a machine. A machine doesn't care about us. A machine just runs. We are the cogs in the matter side of the engine. The twin universe is the antimatter side. Together, we generate the reality that allows us to ask these questions. But the machine has a purpose: to process entropy, to run from order to disorder. We are just the fuel, and the engine is running perfectly. As we look to the sky tonight, know that the darkness is not empty. It is full of the gravity of the invisible. It is full of the neutrinos from the other side. The stars are bright, but the spaces between them are heavy. You are standing on a planet that is being pulled by the ghost of a universe that died to give us life, or rather, a universe that is being born backwards so we can live forwards. It is a cosmic sacrifice, a twin that walked into the dark so we could walk into the light. The investigation is never truly over. Science is a series of darker and darker rooms. We have just opened the door to the mirror room. It is dark, and we can only see outlines. But the outlines are moving. The Anita signal was a movement. The dark matter halos are movements. Something is in there with us. And as our eyes adjust to the dark, we might begin to recognize the shape and realize, with a shudder, that the shape is us. The hidden twin is the ultimate answer to the question, why is there something rather than nothing? The answer is, there isn't. There is simply a separated something and anti-something that adds up to nothing. We exist because the zero was split. We are the debris of a broken nothingness. And the universe's entire history is just the long, slow struggle to put the pieces back together and return to the perfect, silent zero. Until that day of reunification, we drift. We drift through the void, huddled around our stars, trying to make sense of the signals from the ice. We are the lonely children of a divorced cosmos. We have the father's eyes, matter, and the mother's gravity, time. But we only live in one house. The other house is across the street, dark and silent, but we know someone is home. We can see their shadow in the window. The story of the universe is a ghost story, but it is not a story of the supernatural. It is a story of the natural carried to its logical extreme. It is the story of symmetry. And symmetry, when perfect, is indistinguishable from non-existence. The flaw in the mirror is the only reason we are here to tell the tale. We should cherish the flaw. We should worship the broken symmetry, because in a perfect universe there is no one left to observe the perfection. The search continues. PUAO will fly. The LHC will run. The deep underground detectors will wait. We will keep knocking on the wall of reality. And one day, the wall will sound hollow. That will be the day we know for sure. The day the universe becomes double. The day we accept that reality is a stereo signal, and we have only been listening to the left channel. If you feel a chill while looking at the stars, it is not just the cold of space. It is the entropy of the twin universe brushing against your timeline. It is the wind from the past blowing into the future. It is the breath of the hidden twin. We are not alone. We never were. We are just half. The cosmos is a mirror. Break it, and you get 7 billion years of bad luck. Or perhaps 7 billion years of existence. We are the shards of the broken mirror, and we are sharp. We cut through the void. We define the light. We are the reflection that became real. So the next time you see a shadow, remember, shadows require light. And in the universe, matter requires antimatter. Your shadow is cast on the ground. The universe's shadow is cast on time. And the Anita anomaly is just the shadow waving back. We end where we began, falling through the dark. But now we know we are not falling alone. We are falling in tandem with a twin we cannot see, spinning in a cosmic dance that spans the history of everything. Reality is a duet, and the music is just getting started. Deep within the maps of the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light in the universe, lies a scar that cosmologists call the axis of evil. According to the standard model of the Big Bang, the universe should be isotropic, the same in all directions, with no preferred orientation. The temperature fluctuations from the early universe should be random, like static on a television screen. But they are not random. There is a strange alignment of the low multipoles, a line that cuts through the cosmos, dividing it into two distinct hemispheres with different energetic properties. For decades, scientists have tried to explain this away as a statistical fluke or an error in data processing, but mission after mission, COBE, WMAP, Planck, has confirmed it. The axis is real. In the context of the Captain symmetric universe, the axis of evil ceases to be an anomaly and becomes a structural necessity. It is the spine of the Janus point. It marks the axis of rotation or separation where the two universes pulled apart. We are not living in a random ball of gas. We are living in a structured, polarized geometry. The axis points the way to the other side. It is the equator of reality, and the fact that we can see it implies that we are still geometrically connected to the twin that lies beneath the southern horizon of time. Then there is the CMB cold spot, a vast region of the sky roughly 1 billion light-years across that is significantly colder than the rest of the universe. It is a supervoid of impossible proportions, a hole in the heat of creation that standard inflation theories cannot explain. Probability suggests it shouldn't exist. The chances of such a large fluctuation are vanishingly small. But if we inhabit a mirror universe, the cold spot takes on a sinister significance. It could be the bruise left behind by a quantum entanglement event between the two universes shortly after the Big Bang. Imagine two bubbles expanding from the same point. If they touch, they leave a mark. The cold spot might be the imprint of the twin universe pressing against ours, a region where energy was leached away across the boundary. Or it could be the shadow of a massive concentration of matter in the anti-universe, a super anti-cluster, whose gravity is so intense that it redshifts the light in our universe, cooling it down. We are looking at a ghost print on the skin of the cosmos, evidence that we bumped into our sibling in the dark before drifting apart. The hierarchy problem in physics asks why gravity is so absurdly weak compared to the other fundamental forces. A tiny magnet can lift a paperclip against the gravitational pull of the entire Earth. Gravity is 10 to the power of 32 times weaker than electromagnetism. This discrepancy drives physicists insane because it requires fine-tuning of the universe's constants, String theory tries to solve this with extra dimensions where gravity hides. But the Captain's symmetric universe offers a different solution. Gravity is not weak, it is diluted. If gravity is the only force that can cross the barrier between the twin universes, then it is shared between them. We only feel half of the gravity that is actually generated. The rest is leaking into the twin universe, pulling on their stars and galaxies. We are sharing a blanket with a ghost. And the reason we are cold is that the ghost has pulled half the blanket to the other side of time. Gravity appears weak to us because it is the only force that has to do double duty, binding two realities together while the other forces are selfishly locked inside one. Let us reconsider the arrow of time and the biological implication of entanglement. If every particle in our bodies has a twin in the anti-universe, entangled at the moment of the Big Bang, does this entanglement extend to the emergent properties of matter, like consciousness? Penrose and Hameroff have proposed that consciousness originates from quantum processes in the brain's microtubules. If these quantum states are entangled with the mirror sector, are we truly independent thinkers? Or is our consciousness a dipole phenomenon, spanning both universes? This leads to the disturbing concept of the mirror self. Somewhere, receding into the past is an anti-you. Are your thoughts influencing theirs? Are their dreams your nightmares? The feeling of déjà vu might be a momentary synchronization of the two timelines, a glitch where the information from the backward-flowing twin leaks into your forward-flowing mind. We might be two halves of a single consciousness, separated by a temporal tragedy, forever trying to remember a future that the other half has already lived as a past. The great silence of the Fermi paradox, the lack of alien signals, takes on a new dimension in the Captain model. If the universe is symmetric, it is likely that the anti-universe is just as populated as ours, perhaps even more so if their initial conditions were slightly more favorable for life. But we can never hear them. Their radio signals are traveling backward in time relative to us. To receive a message from the twin universe, we would have to build a receiver that listens to the future. But there is a loophole: gravity. If an advanced civilization in the twin universe built megastructures, Dyson spheres, or stellar engines, the gravitational waves from those moving masses would travel to us. We might not hear their radio, but we would feel their weight. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence should shift from radio telescopes to gravitational wave detectors like LIGO. The chirps we hear from colliding black holes might be the industrial noise of the anti-civilizations, misinterpreted by us as natural disasters. We are listening to the sound of their traffic and calling it thunder. The concept of vacuum decay is the ultimate sword of Damocles hanging over the Captain universe. The vacuum of space is not empty. It is a potential energy field. If our universe is coupled to a twin, the stability of our vacuum depends on the stability of theirs. If the twin universe undergoes a catastrophic phase transition, say their Higgs field collapses to a lower energy state, the shockwave would travel through the coupling and destroy us. But because they are moving backward in time, the cause of our destruction would appear to come from our future. We would be destroyed by an event that, from our perspective, hasn't happened yet. This violates our causality, but causality is a local law, not a global one. The mirror universe theory implies that we are vulnerable to retrocausal annihilation. The apocalypse could be triggered by an experiment done in the anti-universe a billion years from now, in their time, which manifests as a sudden, spontaneous disintegration of our reality today. We are walking on a tightrope where the rope is being cut from both ends. The lithium problem in Big Bang nucleosynthesis is one of the few hard evidences we have that the standard model is wrong. The universe has only 1/3 of the lithium-7 it should have. Where did it go? In the Captain scenario, the early universe was a mixing pot of matter and antimatter before they fully separated. It is possible that the missing lithium was destroyed by interactions with the antimatter sector during the divorce phase. The lithium didn't vanish. It was sacrificed to the mirror. It is the chemical residue of the separation event. By studying the precise abundance of these primordial elements, we are performing an autopsy on the Big Bang. The missing lithium is the missing blood. It proves that the birth of our universe was a violent, traumatic separation from a twin, not a pristine expansion into nothingness. We are chemically scarred by the loss of our other half. Let's talk about the dipole repeller again. We are moving at 630 kilometers per second relative to the cosmic microwave background. We are falling toward the Shapley attractor, but we are also running away from a void. Standard gravity cannot explain repulsion. A void has no mass. It cannot push. It can only not pull. But the push we measure is real. This suggests that the void is actually occupied by something with negative mass or a repulsive gravity interaction. In the Captain universe, while antimatter has positive mass in its own frame, its interaction with our world across the boundary might manifest as a repulsive force on large scales. The dipole repeller might be the location of a massive anti-galaxy cluster in the mirror universe that is literally pushing us away. We are being bullied by the gravity of the invisible. The large-scale flow of the cosmos is a dance of attraction and repulsion between the visible and the hidden. We are being herded by ghosts. The mystery of fast radio bursts, FRBs, intense millisecond-long blasts of radio energy from deep space, remains unsolved. Some repeat, some happen once. They are too bright to be stars, too short to be supernovae. What if FRBs are short circuits in the Captain barrier? If a pocket of antimatter from the twin universe leaks into ours and annihilates, it would release a burst of pure energy, primarily in the gamma and radio spectrum. A repeating FRB might be a stable leak, a crack in space-time that opens and closes rhythmically, venting the pressure of the twin universe into ours. We are watching the sparks fly from a faulty wire in the universal computer. The fact that they are coming from random directions suggests the barrier is stressed everywhere. The universe is creaking under the tension of the separation. The Captain theory also reframes the big crunch versus big freeze debate. If the universe is a closed temporal loop, then the expansion must eventually stop. Gravity, fed by the mass of both twins, will eventually overcome the expansion energy. But it won't be a crunch into a singularity. It will be a turnaround. The arrow of time will flip. As the universe contracts, entropy will decrease. The dead stars will unburn. Light will return to the source. We will not be there to see it, because our biological processes rely on increasing entropy. But the universe will remember. It will fold back onto itself, passing through the Janus point again, perhaps swapping places with the twin. We become the antimatter. They become the matter. The cycle resets. It is the ultimate reincarnation. The sterile neutrino is the protagonist of this story, but it is a character we have never seen. Why? Because it is heavy. In particle physics, heavy particles decay quickly. But in the Captain model, the right-handed neutrino is stable. It is the dark matter. But if it is stable, why haven't we caught one? Because it interacts only via gravity. However, there is a chance that it decays extremely slowly, on timescales longer than the age of the universe. If it does, it would emit a specific X-ray signal, a line at 3.5 keV. Astronomers have seen this exact unexplained line in the spectra of galaxy clusters. They call it the 3.5 keV anomaly. It is a whisper from the dark sector. It is the sound of the mirror matter slowly dying. We have seen the smoke. We just haven't admitted there is a fire. The dark matter is decaying, and as it does, it is lighting up the X-ray sky with the signature of the twin. The psychological horror of the simulation hypothesis, that we are code in a computer, is matched by the Captain hypothesis. In a simulation, resources are saved by not rendering what isn't observed. In the Captain universe, the other half is rendered but hidden to save on interaction costs. It implies a minimalist design. Why create two separate universes when you can create one and fold it in half? The symmetry is a compression algorithm. It allows the universe to contain zero net energy, zero net charge, and zero net momentum. It costs nothing to create a Captain universe. It is the ultimate free lunch. We exist only because existence costs nothing in this specific configuration. If we were asymmetric, we would require an external energy source. Symmetry allows us to be self-sufficient, existing in a perpetual motion machine of time. There is a theory that the Great Attractor is actually a point of convergence. If the universe has a toroidal donut shape, the Great Attractor might be the place where the light from our own galaxy returns to us from the other side. But in the Captain model, the Great Attractor is the center of mass of the combined system. We are falling toward the barycenter of the twins. The reason we can't see what's there is that the mass is largely in the twin sector. We are falling toward a ghost city. The gravitational well is deep, but the water is invisible. We are like ships caught in a whirlpool, circling a drain that empties into the other timeline. The existence of mirror stars is a testable prediction. If dark matter can clump, and it should, if it is mirror matter, it should form stars. These stars would emit mirror light, dark photons. To us, they would be invisible. But if a mirror star drifted into a cloud of normal gas, its gravity would suck the gas in. The gas would heat up and shine, but there would be no central object visible. We would see a ghost star, an accretion disk orbiting nothing. Astronomers have found such objects. They usually assume it's a black hole. But if the object has the mass of a star, like the Sun, and no event horizon, it can't be a black hole. It might be a mirror star. We might have already photographed the inhabitants of the twin universe and mislabeled them as dead remnants. The Lyman alpha forest is a pattern of absorption lines in the light of distant quasars, caused by clouds of hydrogen gas between us and the quasar. It maps the distribution of matter in the universe, but the map has gaps. There are regions where the gas is missing or behaves strangely. The Captain theory suggests these are regions where the mirror universe has swept the area clear, or where mirror supernovae have blown bubbles in the intergalactic medium via gravitational shockwaves. We are reading the history of the twin universe in the empty spaces of our own. The forest has trails cut through it by invisible beasts. Let us look at the fine structure constant, alpha. It determines the strength of the electromagnetic force. Measurements from distant quasars suggest alpha might not be constant. It might vary slightly across the universe. In the Captain model, this variation is expected. The separation between the twins creates a gradient in the fundamental constants. As we move away from the Big Bang, the constants drift. This implies that the laws of physics are not immutable. They are evolving. In the deep future, or the deep past of the twin, electromagnetism might be too weak to hold atoms together. The Goldilocks zone of the universe is temporal, not spatial. We are living in the brief era where atoms work. The holographic principle states that all the information in a volume of space can be encoded on its boundary. If the universe is Captain symmetric, the boundary is the Big Bang itself. The entire history of both universes is a hologram, projected from the singularity. We are the projection. The twin is the projection. The real data is stored on the 2D surface of the beginning. This reduces us to information. We are pixels on a screen, and the screen has two sides. The horror is that someone or something might be watching the show, or worse, editing the tape. Neutrinos are coming from the Sun in vast numbers, but the Anita particle came from below. This directionality is the key. If the Earth is transparent to the twin universe's particles, then the entire planet is being X-rayed by the anti-cosmos. They are scanning us, not with technology, but with the natural radiation of their stars. We are bathed in the light of anti-suns. It doesn't hurt us, but it passes through us. It carries the information of our existence into the void. If there are observers in the twin universe, they don't need to visit us. They just need to catch the neutrinos that pass through Earth. We are broadcasting our internal structure to the cosmos constantly. The Russian physicist Andrei Sakharov was the first to propose the conditions for the matter-antimatter asymmetry in 1967. He realized that for matter to survive, Captain must be violated, or the universe must not be in thermal equilibrium. But the Captain symmetric universe sidesteps Sakharov's conditions by restoring symmetry globally. It says Sakharov was right about the conditions, but wrong about the scope. The universe didn't violate CPT, it just outsourced the antimatter. This historical context is vital. The Soviets knew that the math pointed to a twin. They called it the shadow world. The Cold War wasn't just about nukes. It was about the nature of reality. They were looking for the ultimate weapon, vacuum decay. The aesthetic beauty of the theory is what draws physicists in. It explains dark matter, mirror neutrinos, baryogenesis, separation, and the arrow of time, geometry, all at once. It is a theory of everything candidate that doesn't require string theory. But it is a lonely theory. It says we can never leave our bubble. We can never travel to the past, because the past is the future of the twin. We are locked in our lane. The speed of light is the speed limit, and the Big Bang is the wall. We are prisoners of geometry. The Anita anomaly appeared at an energy of 0.6 eeV. This energy corresponds to the decay of a super-heavy dark matter particle, roughly 100 million times heavier than a proton. If this particle constitutes dark matter, it is unstable on cosmological timescales. This means dark matter is dying. The twin universe is evaporating. As it decays, it shoots high-energy particles into our world. We are being pelted by the debris of a collapsing twin. The Anita signal is the death rattle of the anti-universe. And if they are dying, are we next? The past hypothesis states that the universe began in a low-entropy state. This is highly improbable. Penrose calculated the odds as 1 in 10 caret 10 to the power of 123. It is effectively impossible. But in the Captain universe, the Big Bang is the only point where entropy is low because it is the neck of the hourglass. Gravity crushes entropy out of the system at the bounce. The improbability vanishes. The universe didn't get lucky, it got squeezed. The Big Bounce acts as a reset button, wiping the slate clean of disorder before restarting the clock. But what if the bounce wasn't perfect? What if some information survived the crunch from the previous cycle? Then the twin universe isn't just a mirror, it's a memory. It contains the fossils of the universe that existed before ours. We are living in the sequel. The pre-Big Bang universe collapsed, inverted, and expanded again. We are the phoenix rising from the ashes of our own ancestors. The Anita particles are messages from the ghosts of the previous eon. We feel alone in the universe because we look out and see dead rock and gas. But if the twin universe is real, the total amount of life in the cosmos is doubled. The tragedy is the segregation. It is apartheid on a cosmic scale. We are separated by the glass of time. We can press our hands against it. We can see the fog of their breath, dark matter. But we can never hold them. This is the ultimate existential loneliness, knowing there is another, but never meeting. The horizon problem asks why opposite sides of the universe are the same temperature if they never touched. Inflation answers, they touched before expanding. CPT answers, they didn't need to touch. They are reflections. The uniformity is built in. You don't ask why your left hand is the same temperature as your right hand. They are part of the same body. The universe is an organism. The horizon is just the limit of our vision, not the limit of the body. Let us imagine the technology of the twin universe. Since they have right-handed neutrinos as their standard particles, their weak nuclear force works differently. Their stars might burn differently. Their chemistry might be more stable. They might have elements we cannot forge. If we could trade materials, we would revolutionize engineering. But the trade embargo is enforced by the laws of thermodynamics. We can only trade gravity. We are poor neighbors, sharing nothing but the fence. The flatness problem asks why the universe is perfectly flat, Euclidean geometry. If it had slightly more mass, it would collapse. Slightly less, it would fly apart. It is balanced on a knife edge. The Captain universe explains this balance naturally. The matter and antimatter pull against each other across the timeline, keeping the geometry taut. We are flat because we are being pulled from both ends. The tension of the twin holds the fabric straight. As we look at the dark ages of the universe, the era before the first stars, we see hints of early heating. The gas warmed up faster than it should have. This could be due to the annihilation of dark matter particles, mirror neutrinos. The twin universe was keeping us warm in the crib. The early cosmos was a nursery heated by the radioactive decay of the mirror world. We owe our existence to this warmth. Without it, the gas might have collapsed too fast or too slow to form the galaxies that birthed us. The search for primordial black holes is also relevant. These are black holes formed in the Big Bang, not from stars. They could be the dark matter, but in the Captain theory, they are the knots in the space-time fabric where the separation got messy. They are the scars of the surgery. If we find them, and they have the specific mass predicted by the twin theory, we have verified the model. We are hunting for the stitches that hold the universe together. The multiverse is often depicted as bubbles floating in a void, but the Captain pair is a dumbbell shape, two lobes connected by a thin neck. the singularity. We are in one lobe. This shape is fundamental to physics, the orbital of an electron, the dipole of a magnet. As above, so below. The universe mimics the atom. We are living inside a giant quantum orbital. This scale invariance suggests that the laws of physics are fractal. The universe is not a collection of things. It is a single pattern repeating at every scale. If the Captain Universe is true, then time travel is physically impossible in the Hollywood sense. You cannot go back to the past because the past is occupied by the anti-universe. To go back, you would have to become antimatter. You would annihilate instantly. The past is protected by a firewall of annihilation. The universe is safe from paradoxes because it kills anyone who tries to create one. The grandfather paradox is solved by the execution of the traveler. The cosmological constant problem is the worst prediction in physics. Theory says the vacuum energy should be huge. Observation says it is tiny. The mismatch is 120 orders of magnitude. But if the twin universe has a negative vacuum energy that cancels ours out, the remainder, the tiny bit we see, is just the imperfection of the cancellation. The universe is trying to be zero. Dark energy is just the rounding error. We exist in the 0.0001% that didn't cancel. We are the residue. The hypervelocity stars are stars moving so fast they are escaping the galaxy. Usually they are kicked by a black hole. But some don't have a clear origin. Could they be mirror stars that flipped parity? If a star in the twin universe interacts with a chaotic region of space-time and flips into our universe, it would appear with enormous momentum. It would be a rogue star, alien to our galaxy, screaming through the void. We should analyze their spectra for anomalies. They might be visitors. The biocosm idea returns. Is the universe alive? If it has a twin, it has bilateral symmetry, like an animal. It has a spine, axis of evil. It has a heartbeat, expansion/contraction. It has a metabolism, entropy. We might be the bacteria living in the gut of a four-dimensional creature. The Captain Universe makes the cosmos look less like a rock and more like an embryo. And we are just cells dividing. The danger of false vacuum is amplified. If the twin universe is the true vacuum and we are the false, then the bubble of destruction will come from the past. It will eat history before it eats us. We would see the stars going out one by one as the timeline is erased from the bottom up. The past would be deleted. Our history books would become fiction as the events they record are unwritten by the advancing wall of the twin reality. The Boltzmann brain paradox suggests that it is more likely for a single brain to hallucinate the universe than for the universe to actually exist. CPT symmetry solves this by imposing order. Random fluctuations are suppressed by the rigid requirements of the mirror. We are not hallucinations. We are necessary structural components. The universe needs observers to collapse the wave function of the twin. We are the eyes of the machine. As we scan the heavens for Dyson spheres, we look for waste heat. But a civilization in the twin universe would emit anti-heat from our perspective, or gravitational waste. We should look for regions of space that are inexplicably calm or gravitationally distorted. The voids might be the gardens of the twin civilizations. We are looking for cities of light, but we should be looking for ordered darkness. The zoo hypothesis says aliens are watching us. In the Captain model, the aliens are behind the two-way mirror. They can see the shadow we cast, but they cannot tap on the glass. We are in a zoo, but the zookeepers are ghosts. They might be trying to guide us or warn us through the subtle manipulation of quantum probability. The lucky breaks in human history might be interventions from the twin. The simulation hypothesis is popular because it explains the pixelation of quantum mechanics. But CPT is a hardware explanation, not software. It says the hardware is dual-core. We are running on Core 1. The twin is running on Core 2. They share the same RAM, spacetime. The glitches, Anita, happen when both cores try to access the same memory address at the same time. The universe is a parallel processor. The Omphalos hypothesis asks if the universe was created last Thursday with fake memories. CPT says the universe is constantly being created at the Big Bang and flowing outward. The past is real because the twin is anchoring it. Without the twin, the past would dissolve. They are the paperweight holding down the map of history. If they disappear, our past evaporates. The dark flow is the movement of galaxy clusters toward a point beyond the visible universe. This is the gravity of the twin, pulling on the edge of our observable bubble. We are flowing toward the exit of the universe, dragged by the mass of the anti-world. We are water in a tilted pan. The tilt is caused by the asymmetry of the twins. The void problem in cosmology is that voids are too empty. They shouldn't be this empty. CPT says they are empty of matter because they are full of mirror matter. The mirror matter pushes out the normal matter. It is a territorial dispute. We get the filaments, they get the voids. It is a cosmic partition. The Berlin Wall of the universe runs through the empty spaces. The dark photons could be the key to interstellar communication. If we can build a dark photon transmitter, we can signal the twin. But what do you say to a civilization that remembers your future? Don't do it. Watch out? Or do you just say hello? The first message to the twin should be, we are still here. The kinetic mixing of photons and dark photons is the mechanism. It's a quantum tunneling effect. It happens rarely, but with a universe this big, it happens enough to light up the dark. The faint glow of the night sky, the zodiacal light, the background glow, might contain a fraction of mirror light. We are seeing the city lights of the anti-Earth, filtered through the wall of time. The hidden sector of particle physics is not small. It is half the Lagrangian, half the math. We have solved 50% of the equation and declared victory. The arrogance of human science is thinking that what we see is all there is. The Captain theory is a lesson in humility. It forces us to admit that we are half blind. Mirror stars might be detectable by gravitational microlensing. If a star passes in front of a background star, it magnifies the light. If we see the magnification but no star, it's a mirror star. We have thousands of these events. We call them rogue planets or black holes. But they might be the suns of the other world. We are seeing their gravity warp our light. Accretion disks around black holes are bright. But what if the black hole is in the twin universe? We would see a dark accretion disk, gravity swirling, but no light. Or maybe anti-light that we can't see. We observe quiet black holes that seem dormant. Maybe they are feasting in the other timeline, and we just can't see the dinner. Quasars are the brightest objects in the universe. Are they the lighthouses? Are they points where the barrier is breached? Some quasars have jets that shoot matter at light speed. Could these jets be punching through to the twin? If a quasar jet hits the mirror, it would scatter energy into both universes. We might be seeing the backscatter of a beam aimed at the anti-cosmos. The Lyman alpha forest shows us the skeleton of the universe. The gas clouds align in filaments. If the Captain theory is right, there is a shadow forest interlocked with ours. The gaps in our forest are the trees in theirs. The universe is a dense thicket of matter and mirror matter, woven together so tightly that you cannot pull them apart without unraveling reality. As we close this chapter of the investigation, the evidence mounts. The axis of evil, the cold spot, the Anita particles, the dark matter halos, they all point to the same thing. A hidden twin. A mirror reality. A partner in time. We are not alone. We are entangled. And the closer we look, the more we realize that our reflection is looking back. The final piece of the Captain puzzle lies in the concept of neutrino floor. In the search for dark matter, detectors are now sensitive enough that they are starting to detect neutrinos from the sun and atmosphere as noise. This is the floor. Below this, standard detection is impossible. But for Captain theorists, the floor is the ceiling. It is where the signal from the twin universe begins. The noise that frustrates standard physics is the data from mirror physics. We are drowning in the signal we are trying to ignore. The neutrinos are not interference. They are the broadcast. Consider the black hole firewall paradox. If you fall into a black hole, do you burn up or float through? CPT symmetry suggests you pass through the event horizon into the mirror universe, but as antimatter. To you, you are normal, but to the universe you left, you are gone. To the universe you enter, you are an intruder from the future. The event horizon is the Captain inversion surface. It is the skin of the mirror. Falling into a black hole is not death. It is migration. The information paradox is resolved. The information isn't lost, It is translated. It is written into the book of the twin. The universe is a library that never throws away a book. It just moves it to the restricted section. We are terrified of black holes because we think they are erasers. They are not. They are photocopiers. They copy matter from one side of the sheet to the other. Quantum tunneling allows particles to pass through barriers they shouldn't. If the barrier between universes is finite, then entire atoms could tunnel. Over billions of years, how much of our universe has leaked? Are we lighter than we used to be? Is the missing mass just the stuff that tunneled away? The universe might be evaporating into its twin, slowly, atom by atom, like a water balloon with a microscopic leak. The cosmic web looks biological. It looks like neurons, or mycelium. If the Captain Universe fills the voids, the full structure is a solid block of matter and mirror matter. The web is just the cracks in the block. We are living in the fractures of a solid-state universe. The empty space is the illusion. The universe is a crystal, and we are the flaws in the lattice. The void phenomenon, the expansion of voids, is driven by the pressure of the mirror matter. As the twin universe expands, it pushes against our filaments. We are being squeezed into thinner and thinner strands. The ultimate fate of the universe is to be compressed into 2D sheets by the expanding bubbles of the anti-universe. We are being flattened by the neighbor's renovation. Tachyons are hypothetical faster-than-light particles. In the Captain model, a tachyon is just a regular particle viewing the timeline from the outside. If you could step out of the symmetry, you would see the whole timeline as a single object. Speed is irrelevant. Time is geometry. The twin universe is not fast or slow. It is there. It is a location in the fourth dimension. The anthropic principle says the universe is fine-tuned for us. CPT says the universe is fine-tuned for itself. We just fit in the pockets. The constants are set by the need for the mirror to hold. If gravity were stronger, the mirror would shatter. If electromagnetism were weaker, the reflection would blur. We are the beneficiaries of a cosmic vanity. The universe wants to look at itself, and we are the eyes it grew to do so. The Fermi bubbles, giant lobes of gamma radiation extending from the center of the Milky Way, are they exhaust? Or are they the intake valves? They look like the lobes of the Captain dumbbell. The galaxy is breathing. It is exchanging matter with the twin through the galactic core. The Fermi bubbles are the lungs of the Milky Way, processing the mirror matter. The great filter of civilizations might be the Captain barrier. Any civilization that tries to manipulate the symmetry gets annihilated. We are safe as long as we remain ignorant. The moment we try to build a mirror engine or a time drive, the universe corrects the error. The silence of the sky is the silence of a graveyard of species that touched the glass. Vacuum metastability means the universe could end at any moment, but if the twin universe stabilizes us, we are safe as long as they are safe. It is a mutual assured destruction pact. If they blow up their vacuum, we die. If we blow up ours, they die. We are holding a grenade, and they are holding the pin. Or vice versa. The Boltzmann brane argument is defeated by the twin. Random fluctuations cannot create a symmetrical twin. Only a Big Bang can. Therefore, the universe is real. We are not brains in jars. We are halves of a whole. The existence of the twin validates our own existence. I reflect. Therefore, I am. The axis of evil points to a specific spot in the sky. If we point our deepest telescopes there, will we see the navel of the universe, the point of connection? Or will we see nothing, because the connection is in the fourth dimension? The James Webb Telescope is looking. It is staring at the stars. Neutrino oscillation is the heartbeat of the connection. Electron to muon to tau to mirror, the fourth flavor, the sterile flavor, the ghost flavor. We need to build a detector that can catch the fourth beat. When we do, we will hear the music of the spheres in stereo for the first time. The Dark Ages ended when the first stars turned on. But what turned them on? Gravity. And if gravity is boosted by the twin, then the twin lit the match. We owe our light to their darkness. The first sunrise in the universe was a joint operation. The cosmic ray paradox is solved. The rays exceeding the speed limit are falling from the twin universe. They are gaining kinetic energy as they slide down the time gradient. They hit our atmosphere with the force of a falling brick. We are standing at the bottom of a gravity well, and the twin is dropping rocks on us. Time dilation near a black hole means time stops. At the event horizon, you are frozen. This is the boundary where you flip. You stop moving in time A and start moving in time B. To the outside observer, you never cross. To you, you fall forever. Both are true. You are smeared across the mirror. The many-worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics says every decision splits the universe. CPT says the universe is already split. It doesn't need to split again. All the quantum probabilities sum up to the two realities. It is a closed system. No new universes are created, just the eternal dance of the two. The origin of mass is the Higgs field. But why does the Higgs have the value it does? Because it balances the anti-Higgs. The twin universe has a field that cancels ours. The mass we feel is the net mass, the leftover. We are heavy because the cancellation isn't perfect. We are the error in the calculation. The big bounce implies we have done this before, and we will do it again. The universe expands, stops, contracts, bounces, inverts, and expands again. We are in cycle N. The twin is in cycle N, reverse, or maybe N1. It doesn't matter. The wheel turns. We are strapped to the rim. The shape of the universe is likely a torus donut. The flow goes out one side, around, and back in the other. We are on the skin of the donut. The twin is on the inside, or the other side. The geometry is four-dimensional, but the path is circular. We are marching towards our own beginning. The end of time is when the two meet. When the expansion reverses, the sky will turn violet, the stars will rush toward us, the twin universe will rush toward us. At the moment of contact, the two realities will annihilate. The energy will reset the entropy to zero. The Big Bang will happen again. Dark energy is the tension of the rubber band. It is pulling us apart now, but eventually it will snap back. The acceleration we see is the final stretch before the recoil. We are at the apex of the swing. The fall is coming. Supernovae are the standard candles. We use them to measure distance. But if the twin universe affects gravity, our measurements are wrong. The universe might be smaller than we think, or larger. We are measuring distance in a hall of mirrors. The objects are closer than they appear. The cosmological horizon is the limit of what we can see, but gravity comes from beyond the horizon. We feel the pull of things we can't see. We feel the pull of the twin. It is the dark flow. We are drifting toward a coastline we will never reach. Entropic gravity is a theory that gravity is not a force, but a byproduct of entropy. If the twin universe has reverse entropy, it generates reverse gravity, or attractive gravity, in a different way. The interplay of these two entropies creates the space-time curvature we feel. Gravity is the thermodynamic friction between the worlds. The standard model is a map of half the territory. It works perfectly for us but fails for the cosmos. It is a local map. The Captain theory is the globe. It connects the edges. It makes the map whole. But it requires us to admit that our north is someone else's south. Supersymmetry failed because it looked for partners in the same room. The partners are in the mirror room. The selectron is just the positron in the anti-universe. We don't need new particles. We just need to reuse the old ones. The universe is the ultimate recycler. String theory needs 10 dimensions. CPT needs 4. Occam's razor favors Captain. It cuts the fat. It leaves the bone. The universe is simple. Symmetry is simple. Complexity is just our confusion. The great attractor is the mass center. We are falling. The twin is falling. We will meet in the middle. The collision will be the end of history, and the start of the next one. The cold spot is the window. If we look closely, we might see the stars of the twin, not their light, but their shadow. We are looking at the silhouette of the anti-galaxy. It is blocking the heat of the Big Bang. Quantum fluctuation is the twitch of the mirror. The vacuum is alive. It is the skin of the twin. We are touching it every second. Baryon asymmetry is the smoking gun. We survived. They survived. We are the lucky ones. They are the lucky ones. The universe is a casino where everyone wins, but everyone has to leave via different doors. Dark matter is the ghost. It haunts us. We haunt them. It is fair. The universe is fair. Neutrinos are the messengers. They cross the line. They tell us the truth. We just need to learn their language. Time is the illusion. There is only geometry. The past is just down. The future is just up. The twin is just inverse. The Big Bang was the mirror cracking. The shards are flying apart. We are riding a shard. Vacuum decay is the mirror healing. If it heals, we are gone. We exist in the wound. Inflation is unnecessary. The bounce explains it. The universe didn't blow up, it breathed out. Black holes are the pores. They let the pressure out. They balance the equation. Hawking radiation is the leak. The black hole is evaporating into the twin. The end is the beginning. The captain's cycle is eternal. We are immortal in the loop. The twin is real. The math is solid. The data is coming. We must accept our duality. We are not the whole story. We are a chapter. The universe is a mirror. Smile, and it smiles back. Scream, and it screams back. The Anita particle was a knock. Someone is at the door. We are waiting for the door to open or break. Until then, we watch the shadows and wonder who is casting them. The hidden twin is the final frontier. It is the land of the dead and the land of the unborn. We are the reflection, and they are the reflection. And in the middle, there is nothing, just the perfect, silent, terrifying symmetry of zero.